And just like that, we are back in business, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what we about to do right about now. Just as soon as my watch page pops on. It's about time to get this party started because right about now it is wacky, wild, Wake 'em Up Wednesday, and I am your host, the one and only Jake the Awake. Hope you guys are doing good tonight. I am glad to be back. It's been a while since I have done a live stream, and I am ready to go. It's been a while since I have done a live stream for you guys, and it's been a while since I made y'all laugh. And in the last stream I can't remember, but this one's gonna be good as fuck, yeah. All right. You guys ready to have some fun tonight? I see I got my mods already showing up here. I see Sunflower's in the chat. She says, hey, guys. Hey, Jake. Hi, Sunflower. How you doing? I see Truth Hurts is in the chat. All right. Cactus Jack up in here. All right, we got Nate X, Suzette Ann. Suzette Ann says, it's wake the fuck awake time. That's right. It's wake the fuck awake time up in this biznatch. All right, Jonna's here. Hi, Jonna. She says, hello, Jake and friends. All right. Got a lot of my awesome moderators here in the house. Good to see. All right. All right. DCran4D says it's time. It's time. It's time. It's Jake the Awake time. All right. Insane in the Brain is here. All right. Good times. Good times. All right. So tonight I wanted to update you guys about the mask situation with Robert Harward, right? So that was a popular story, the Robert Harward Mask. I have an update that I wanted to bring you guys tonight, and I also wanted to expound upon the last video that I put out. So I'm going to do that tonight. Also going to call out somebody who talked about the NFL being rigged in a what I consider to be a negative and gatekeeping fashion. There's a guy calls himself a quantum of conscience, and he said that people who think that the NFL is scripted and that all the players are in on it, he said that that whole notion is ridiculous and that the players aren't in on it. So I'm going to be calling out this other YouTube channel tonight who decided to talk about the one subject that I'm kind of passionate about. You know, I'm one of the only guys who calls out the NFL for playing fake football and gives examples about how all the players are involved. And there's a channel specifically saying all the players are not involved, and he seems to be almost insulting towards audiences like mine who enjoy watching me break down the plays and expose the NFL. So I'm going to get to that tonight as well. So a little bit of, I don't know if he's a shill, but I'm definitely going to be roasting that clown tonight. So stick around if you want to see me roast Matt from Quantum of Conscience. All right. So you guys ready to kick this party off? I see I got some super chats that came in before the show started. And I thought tonight I'll go ahead and give us a little cliffhanger video to get us started. So before I even jump into the super chats, let me go ahead and bring up the first cliffhanger video to get us started about this Robert Harward character, because I made a video about this, but we haven't had a chance, you know, to sit here live, me and you guys, and break down the footage and discuss it in detail. And now that I've seen it several times, I have my opinions changed a little bit about what I think's going on. So I wanted to expound upon my last video. So before we get this party started, let's knock out a little cliffhanger video here.
Entirely different people. Few people have noticed 3 striking changes in his appearance. The 69-year-old former senior U.S. military commander appeared as a speaker on Fox News live broadcast. Instead of focusing on his remarks, viewers fixed their eyes on his neck. An unnatural layer seemed to lie between his face and neck. As he breathed and spoke, gaps appeared along the edge, resembling a slowly loosening, realistic human mask. 3 details further back up this suspicion. Firstly, he did not blink once for 13 straight seconds during the live show. Yet in daily videos posted on his personal account, he blinks frequently, around once every 4 to 5 seconds on average. Secondly, his face looked extremely stiff under high-definition cameras. Only his mouth moved while talking, with the rest of his facial features staying motionless. He also appeared noticeably younger. As a retired military officer with decades of service, he had no reason to get Botox injections to smooth wrinkles. Lastly, careful netizens compared his interviews on May 18th and May 21st. He wore the same outfit in... Why does Vice Admiral Harward...
All right, so we're going to be going over this tonight. And as I said in my latest video, they most definitely are showing us this on purpose. So don't think for a second that they slipped up or that that was an accident, what was going on his neck. And so we're going to talk more about how it might not be a mask. It might just be AI. But if it is AI, then it's made to look like a mask. So we're going to go over those details tonight and knock that story out because it was pretty popular for several days. And so we didn't get a chance to talk about it here live. So that's what I wanted to do here tonight. Does that sound good, you guys? All right. So before we kick off the show and dive into the Robert Harward Mask Story, let me go ahead and knock out some of these super chats that came in, and I'll knock out a few super chats and then we'll do a segment. So I'll try and hit these super chats in chunks in between these news stories that I break down tonight. So first super chat of the night coming in from RY. He says, Jake, I'm so glad it's Wake 'em Up Wednesday. Can we please get some impressions of RV saying absolutely ridiculous? Buy my coffee mugs with Roddy Piper's face, God's flat earth, Jake the fake. All right, so it sounds like you want a little Russian vids to get us started. So as you all know, Jake the fake, he's not a real Christian flat earther like me. And that's because he's trying to keep you from discovering God's biblical flat earth. He's absolutely ridiculous. He's always showing his real face and using his real name, whereas I don't like to use my name. I don't like to tell people who I am. I don't like to show my face. In fact, if you want to support my channel, you can go to my merch store and you can buy a picture of Rowdy Roddy Piper from the movie They Live and help support the channel. I sell coffee mugs with Rowdy Roddy Piper's image from the movie They Live because I like to use that image as my own. Jake the fake, though, he uses his real face. He's absolutely ridiculous. There you go. There you go, a little Russian vids kicking us off tonight. And RY says there is no Ralphie. It's either a cat dressed as a dog or an animatronic puppet. No beagle that cute exists. You need to wake yourself up. Bam. All right, so it sounds like he wants a Mag Bitter Truth impression. And I got the one and only Ralphie sitting right here beside me. Ralph, come here, puppy. Come here, puppy. Come here, baby. There's Ralph Meister. Just so happened to be hanging out next to me. So, Ralphie, this one is going to require some participation from you, all right? You just sit there and look cute, and I'll do all the work, all right? Let me tell you something, people. There's no such thing as a Ralphie. I've seen a lot of dog in my lifetime. Let me tell you, people, there's no such thing as a beagle that looked that cute. This guy Jake on the YouTube, he's got this dog, and it's there to tug at your heartstrings, people. There's no dog that's actually that cute. It's obviously an animatronic robot dog. Let me tell you something, people. There is no such thing as a Ralphie. Is either a cat in disguise or some sort of animatronic robot dog. I'm going to hit you with the bam. I'm gone. There you go. A little bit of Mag Bitter Truth. And guest appearance from the one and only Ralphie, my cute beagle. And yes, he's 100% real beagle. He's not an animatronic robot dog. He ain't no cat in disguise. Don't listen to what Mag Bitter Truth tells you. All right. RY says, Jake, can you please do an impression of RV floating in space? Talking about how, just like Jaren, he changed sides and now believes the Earth is a globe. All right, well, here's the problem. Russian Vids doesn't show his face, doesn't give his name. So if he was to be floating in space, it would probably look like this. So, as you all know, I was recently selected to come up here to the International Space Station, and I was the one they selected to test whether or not the Earth is flat or it's a globe. And now that I'm up here, well, I'm sorry to say that I was wrong all these years, and the Earth actually is a globe. And I hate to say it, but Jaren was right when he said that the Earth was a globe. So as you all know, I don't like to show my face. I don't like to give my name. And Rowdy Roddy Piper, he's dead, so he can't be here for me to use his image. So right now, I just got to tell you that I looked out the window and I saw that the sun is a burning gas ball 93 million miles away, and the Earth is not flat. And anyone who thinks the Earth is flat is absolutely ridiculous. There you go. There you go. RV floating in space. Not showing his face, right? Floating in space, not showing his face. Yeah, just so happens to rhyme. All right. RY wants me to do Roseanne defending the mainstream right-wing media. All right. Well, I don't know if you guys have seen in the news lately, but these fucking commies are trying to kill Trump, you know? I don't remember these fucking dick suckers trying to kill Joe Biden. You know, the reason why they're trying to kill Trump, you know, like every time you turn on the news, some assassin's trying to kill Trump's because he's doing such a good job, you know, and doing a way better job than Joe Biden, which is why nobody ever tried to fucking kill Joe Biden. The only reason Joe Biden was ever in office because fucking commies like Darlene and Becky fucking voted for his ass. All right, there you go. I can only do a little Roseanne per show. Otherwise, people are like, I can't handle it, Jake. Too much Roseanne. All right, got a very generous super chat coming in from Suzette Ann, and she says, Mark Sargent will be working on a mainstream media project in June. He signed a non-disclosure agreement. I think that's what you meant to say, NDA instead of an NDE. And he will be sequestered with no internet, no email, and no phone allowed. He mentioned this last night at the beginning of his show, Strange World. So I think that Mark is a total shill. So Mark's been in this same position, being the go-to mainstream media guy for Flat Earth. And so Mark always works with the mainstream media and tells his same goofy story about how he tried to debunk the flat earth and he thought he would do it in 5 minutes. And now here he is over a decade later and he still can't debunk the flat earth. So they always have Mark do the TV mainstream media appearances usually because he's goofy and non-threatening, and the producers know that they can get him to play the part of flat earther on camera, and that he's not going to do anything weird or out of the ordinary, and he's going to keep playing his same role. So I believe Mark is a fake flat earther, and I believe he's no different than Jaren, and at some point or another he might even flip-flop back to the globe. Now, I know these people, you can go to the conferences and you can shake hands with them and you can meet these people, and they might seem real and they might seem genuine. They might even be nice. And, Mark seems like a nice guy if you were to meet him, but that doesn't mean they're not actors putting on a show, and that they are manipulating people into thinking that they're about the truth and that they care about this subject, when really Mark doesn't deep dive into the flat earth subject. In fact, his weekly show is mostly just time wasting bullshit. He never actually dives into any news story and talks about how it's fake or scripted. And so I don't think Mark is legit for a second, personally. And so you telling me that he's going to be working with the mainstream media just solidifies what I already know to be true, that he's a shill pretending to be a flat earther. And of course, the Antarctica trip, they with Will Duffy and Jaren, they supposedly are almost finished with the documentary. So I said a long time ago that they were going to turn that Antarctica trip where Jaren sees the 24-hour sun, that they were going to turn that into a documentary, and it was going to be like Behind the Curve Part 2 sort of deal. So apparently they're still working on it, and it's going to be coming out soon. So I expect there to be a boost in the subject when it comes out, All right. RY says, is it possible maybe some sort of parody version? Well, one of your super chats doesn't, it looks like it's not showing up. Oh, here it is. This one right here. It says, Jake, before you start the show, can you please bless us with your awesome singing voice? For some reason, I'm thinking, What is Love from Hathaway? All right, bro, if you insist. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. I don't know, you're not there. I give you my love, but you don't care. So what is right? What is wrong? Take a look at my schlong. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What is love? Lady, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. Ooh, wah, ooh, wah, ooh, wah, ooh, wah, wah, ow. Wah, ooh, wah, ooh, wah, ooh, wah, wah, yeah. I want no other lover. This is our life, our time. Need you together, need you forever. Is this love? All right, that's enough. There you go. A little acapella Hathaway. All right, no auto-tune, no backing track, nothing, no earpiece to guide me along. If you go see modern day bands and whatnot, they have earpieces telling them what to play and what to sing so that they don't get lost, right? Don't screw up. So now bands are just playing to tracks that they hear, right? The singer can hear his own words in his earpiece, so he never messes up the words or gets lost. So seeing someone actually perform like real music is almost becoming like a thing of the past. All right. And you asked for a parody version. So I slipped in something about taking a look at my dong. So that's as parody as it gets. All right. Thanks, RY, for your requests tonight and all your super chats, buddy. I appreciate that. All right. Got a few more, and we're going to kick off this show. Got one from Dcran4D. He says, Jake builds up the stream with anticipation. He's making us wait. Nice song lyrics. Yeah, every once in a while I show up. There's only like 30 people here, and then like I wait 5-10 minutes, and then there's 75, which is much better. So yeah, you know, I'll purposely make you guys wait sometimes 5-10 minutes so that a few extra stragglers can roll in here. All right, we got trout fishing at Hood Park gifting 10 Jake the Awake memberships. Awesome. Haven't seen you here in a few weeks. Glad to see you tonight, buddy. Longtime supporter of the channel here, trout fishing at Hood Park. And I really appreciate the gifting of the Jake the Awake memberships. And if any of you guys are lucky enough to get one of these, thank Trout Fishing at Hood Park or Cactus Jack. It'll be one of the two who's gifting the memberships out right now. So Cactus Jack gifting out 5 memberships. Trout Fishing at Hood Park giving out 10 memberships. So 15 lucky people are going to get hooked up tonight. So thank you guys. I appreciate that. Spreading the love and the joy. All right. Doxological Thinker says, hey, Jake, did you get my email via Holden about Will Duffy and the supposed satellites taking Earth's photos every 10 minutes? I don't remember if you covered it before, but it's an easy and fun debunk. Let me go. I haven't went through my emails in a few days, so let me go through and dig that up, and then I'll definitely hit you back. And I missed your super chat last week, bro. You commented about the San Diego shooting, and you mentioned that the suspects changed clothes all of a sudden. And so me going back and pulling it up and reading it out of context, like when we're talking about other subjects tonight, you know, I just want to apologize that I missed your super chat from last week, buddy. I went back and watched the replay, and I saw that I missed one of your super chats, and you sent several last week, and I read all of them except for the one that I missed. So I noticed that I missed that one, and I felt bad. I don't like to miss super chats, especially from someone who donates often. So I'll hit you up through your email, and I'll see what you're talking about with Will Duffy. I saw that he posted something on his channel about the documentary coming out, but as far as what you're talking about, I'll have to take a closer look. So I'll hit you up either tonight after the stream or tomorrow morning, bro. Doxological Thinker, y'all. Longtime supporter of the channel, and he donates frequently. And every once in a while, a super chat will go on by while I'm rambling or showing a video. So sorry for missing your super chat last week, buddy. Glad to see you here tonight. Suzette Ann says, Jake, do you really think they really went to Antarctica for the final experiment? There's some stuff about it that looks legit, but there's some stuff about it that looks too crispy and clean and clear that it looks like it was shot in some sort of a green screen studio. So I can't say exactly how much of it was totally fake, whether it was 100% for sure in a green screen studio, but it wouldn't shock me if it was, you know? So I have to come to grips with the fact that they have technology that I've never used, and I don't know for sure how it works, you know, and I'm not a super technologically advanced guy as it is, you know. I use a computer to do these streams and look stuff up online, but I'm not really a computer savvy tech kind of guy. So when it comes to like super high tech, hidden tech stuff they're using to dupe us, I can speculate, but I can't always say for sure the methods that they're using, but one thing I can tell you is that all them people who went on that trip are fucking scumbags, and they're not trustworthy. Not a damn person who went on that Antarctica trip is trustworthy. Every single one of them is a total sleazeball, shill, fucking scumbag as far as I'm concerned. And some of them have even made slander videos and hit piece videos about me. So the fact that there isn't one person on that crew who I trust, yeah, it makes me think that it's probably more than likely fake in some way or another. How exactly they did it for sure, I don't know, because I wasn't there, you know? And I can only figure so much out by looking at their footage. And then, you know, with the rise of AI, we got to figure that, you know, there's AI that they can use that's way better than the versions they've been letting us use, of course. And so, you know, with the assistance of AI, green screen studios, and them possibly even going somewhere where there's ice and snow to make it look as legit as possible. It might be a combination of techniques that they used. RY says everyone should buy a Caddy Daddy shirt. And RY, I missed your super chat last week. At the very, very end, you wanted me to do a Jack Morgan impression. So now that you're bringing up the Caddy Daddy shirt, I'll go ahead and knock out your Jack Morgan impression from last week that I missed. All right. Maria. All right, we sound good. So, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but yeah, somebody tried to take a shot at the president. It's crazy, right? But we're not going to talk about that. Instead, we're going to talk about something completely different. We're going to talk about mechanics. Have you guys noticed mechanics? They're quitting. Yeah, apparently mechanics are quitting everywhere. So I looked up how much a mechanic made. They only make, like, get this, like $40,000. Yeah, no wonder mechanics are quitting. I always thought mechanics made good money. I started making good money when I started doing YouTube. And yeah, I make six figures. I make good money. So you definitely won't see me doing any mechanical work anytime soon. But right now, views are definitely down. Ever since I let Nestor go, views have been down. So right now, if you can support the channel, buy a Caddy Daddy t-shirt. Yeah. I drive an old Cadillac, and I took a picture of my old Cadillac and I put it on a t-shirt. So to support the channel, I want you guys to buy a picture of a Cadillac that I put on a t-shirt from me. So if you guys will go to my merch store and buy a Caddy Daddy t-shirt, support the channel. You could also give me a call on my hotline. It's $5 a minute to talk to me, the one and only Jack Morgan. Take a hit, metaphorically speaking. Wow. All right. There you go. Since I missed your Jack Morgan super chat request last week, I shut the stream off just as you sent in your request. So just as I hit the end button, I saw your super chat come in. So there you go. I made up for the super chats that I missed last week, and it looks like I'm all caught up with today's super chats. So you guys ready to take a look at this mask shit? All right. So in my latest video about the Robert Harward mask, I initially thought it was a mask when I first saw it. And now I'm thinking that it might just be AI made to look like a mask. So let me pull up my video and I'll expound upon this just a bit further. All right. So this guy, Robert Harward, he showed up on Fox News with this, what looked like a mask. And so when I first saw it, I'm like, oh my God, they're showing us the mask on purpose. And they're making it as obvious as possible. And so right away, when I saw this, this line right here, and then the neck. It looked like they were showing us the mask in plain sight, and that they were using this example so that they can say that this is going viral on social media, and then they could serve up their excuse that it's just a shadow. So they serve up this really comfortable, simplistic excuse that what we're seeing is just a shadow. Now, I've watched this video several times now, and now I think maybe there may not be a mask being used here, and maybe it's just AI. So I'm open to the possibility that it might not be a hyper-realistic mask and instead is AI, but it's been prompted to look like he's wearing a mask. So they could be using a mask, or it could be AI and a mask, or it might be AI no mask, but the AI is made to look like a mask. So I don't think it's an accident. I don't think they slipped up. I think this was intentional, absolutely for sure, that they did this on purpose. But what method they used, the more I've watched it and looked at the eyes and the way that the mouth moves, I'm starting to think it's more possible that this is all just AI generated, but they prompted the AI to make it look like he's wearing a hyper-realistic mask, if that makes sense. Either way, the conclusion is the same. They did it on purpose, and they purposely did this to say that it went viral so that then they can serve up the simplistic excuse that it's just a shadow, and a secondary excuse that it's a artifact from a Zoom call. So here's some breaking news. Apparently there's a clip from Fox News that's going viral right now, and it supposedly shows a retired Navy SEAL on camera wearing what appears to be a hyper-realistic mask. Check this out.
Patience may be a little short of the real objective here. The president has time on his hands. He controls the narrative, he controls the strike capabilities, and he knows that the policy he set with the blockade has had short-term and long-term effects.
So the deep set eyes look weird, like the super close together, deep set in eyes. The mouth movement seems AI-ish, CGI-ish. And then the lack of a chin line here. And the eyes hardly blink at all. And then the voice almost puts off like a bit of a Joe Biden vibe. Like I get almost, the more I watch it, like a Joe Biden-esque vibe from this. Almost like this is the same type of technology that they were using to put Joe Biden on the screen. Whether they used a mask, CGI, AI, a combination of all of that. I'm sure that they definitely used all different types of techniques with Joe Biden. I'm sure we were served up AI Joe Bidens, and we were served up actors wearing hyper-realistic masks. And then you got to figure that they can combine a hyper-realistic mask with their AI and post-editing technology, these editing programs that they have. I'm sure that they've got the ability to have a mask and the tech and then use both together. So whether or not it's just AI or a mask and AI, they did this on purpose. And so if I could go back and add something to this video, I would add exactly what I just said, that this possibly is just AI, but it's made to look like a mask, and they did it on purpose. So I would add just what I said just now to this video if I could go back and make it again.
The regime and the people of Iran. So he's been very astute in leveraging that time. And so I don't see it as negotiations. It really is capitulation. The president's made it very clear. You will not have a nuclear weapon. You will not have the materials. Surrender that. And you will ensure that the Straits of Hormuz are open to free commerce.
So the story is that this character Robert Harward is a vice admiral and a retired Navy. See, here he almost looks like a different person, right? So here you can see more detail in his face, and his eyes seem to be like a different shade, like this lighter blue shade. And so I would argue that they're showing us different versions of the same guy. Like they're showing us possibly the real Robert Harward or the real character who plays this role. And then they can, like an actual guy, and then they can show us a CGI version of this same guy just to mess with us, right? So I don't doubt that they can use a real guy and a CGI version and swap them out and interchange them to really try and mess with us and mess with the audience at home. Navy SEAL. He's a military guy. And he was on Fox News, and people spotted him wearing what looks like a hyper-realistic mask. And apparently this got shared on social media, and it went viral. Now, I have a problem with this. And then the media was the one who told us that it went viral, right? So I saw it come across my feed, and I started seeing a bunch of channels talk about it and immediately call it a shadow, and then refer to people calling it a mask as conspiracy theorists. So that's when I decided to jump on it and make the video. And I was trying to get it done as quick as possible so that I could ride the wave of interest. So I knew that people were looking this up and that it was a trending topic. So I was trying to make a good video, a detailed video, but I was under the gun. I had to try and get it up quick, right? Before the topic fell out of the news, right? So I got it up in time, and I got some traction on the video, and then started seeing more and more mainstream media channels cover it. And just about all the mainstream media channels are saying it's just a shadow, or that it's a artifact from a Zoom call. So almost all the mainstream media outlets are serving up the same simplistic excuses. And then, of course, the Illuminati trading card, the imposter Illuminati card, which shows a guy wearing a mask on the card, right? So we always see in the scripted news different examples of these cards being put into play. All right. Social media, and it went viral. Now, I have a problem with this story because I see mainstream media outlets already reporting on this story, and they've already spun some excuses, and it seems like one of the most obvious examples of a mask being worn on camera on the news basically ever. So right there, I said it's one of the most obvious examples of a mask being worn ever. And so this is one of the most obvious mask looking examples ever. But now that I've seen it a bunch of times, listened to his speech patterns, watched the blinking and the eyes, now I think it's possibly AI, but it's AI made to look like a mask. So either way, they want people to see this. They did this on purpose, and they made it look like a mask on purpose. Even if they did it without using an actual mask, they want people to think it's a mask. So regardless of what technique they used, the conclusion is the same. They are serving up the story about a hyper-realistic mask, and then they're pointing to the easiest, most simple, comfortable excuse for the sheeple watching TV at home. It's just a shadow. It's just a shadow. And then they have a secondary excuse, slightly more technical. Oh, it's an artifact from a Zoom call. Now, I've had people in my comment section tell me that they use Zoom all the time, and they've never, ever had a Zoom call make it look like someone was wearing a mask or made them look like they were wearing a mask. And so someone showed me an example of a time where somebody's neck looked like that because of a Zoom call, right? So the only example I can remember that looked like this was Joe Biden, right? And I made a video about it. So there's an example where Joe Biden looked like he had either a CGI overlay over his face or he was wearing a mask, possibly both. So I made a similar video back years ago about Joe Biden, and the excuse they used back then, it was just a shadow. So you guys remember, those of you who've been following a long time, that I put out a video about an incident where it looked like Joe Biden had a CGI overlay over his face or was wearing some sort of a mask. And so they're basically doing the same thing here, except they're making this even more obvious, but they're using a character who nobody's ever heard of. So they're making it as obvious as possible while using a character who nobody knows. So they know they're not going to get a tremendous amount of backlash. People aren't going to freak out that much because nobody really knows who this guy is. Nobody's ever heard of this guy, right? Like, who the hell's ever heard of Robert Harward before this? I hadn't, right? So you'd have to be like watching Fox News all the time, you know, and know all the anchors to have even known who the hell this guy was beforehand. So I think they used this former military guy for a reason. And they use this irrelevant former military guy to test this out on the public, while also setting this story up so that they can offer up the simplistic excuse for the sheeple at home to spout whenever the notion of a hyper-realistic mask is brought up. So they're training the sheep at home, training the television-watching audience that if you ever hear about a hyper-realistic mask, if you ever think you see someone wearing a mask, it's just a shadow. If you hear anyone talking about it, they're just crazy conspiracy theorists who are delusional and they got it all wrong. It's just a shadow. So they use this irrelevant nobody. They show the most obvious example of what looks like a mask, whether it's a mask or AI, doesn't matter. It's the most obvious example basically ever that they show on purpose. And then they serve up the simplest excuse. It's a shadow. And that's the easiest thing for anyone to repeat. So now anyone who talks about Joe Biden wearing a mask, people can be like, oh yeah, it's probably a shadow like the Robert Harward guy, right? If anyone was to point at Trump and say, hey, how do we know that that's not some actor wearing a mask? How do we know that they're not using AI Trumps? Oh, no, it's just a shadow. So now what they did is they've protected themselves in the future. So if anybody's mask was to malfunction in the future, now they've got the built-in excuse for people to pair it. It's just a shadow, right? So if the president, let's say Trump, was to have a major mask malfunction on accident on camera or whatever, now they can write that off as just a shadow. And they can show these old examples. Like, yeah, here's an example of Robert Harward looking like he's wearing a mask. But it was just a shadow. So they desensitize people to the talk of hyper-realistic masks.
And so I have to question why they're purposely showing someone wearing a hyper-realistic mask on the news and making it so obvious and having the mainstream media report on it. I mean, they have the ability to control whether these stories go viral or not. So the fact that this is going quote unquote viral has me very skeptical. And as somebody who's been talking about hyper-realistic masks here on my channel for years, I'm extremely skeptical.
See right here, this was a screenshot from the video that I did years ago, back when Joe Biden was president. And you can see this line right here. And it looks like this extra pasty white CGI Joe Biden face that they stuck over the top of someone else's body, right? Like this is almost looks like it's someone else sitting here and that they overlaid like a CGI Joe Biden. So again, I don't know what program exactly they did this with, whether they used a mask to do it or not, or a mask and AI or whatever. So it could just be AI again here. But again, it's not just the shadow. And we were told in this instance, the mainstream media's excuse was that it's just a shadow. The people who told me I was crazy were like, yeah, it's just because of his shirt collar. So the two examples that look the most strange, they have the same excuse for both. It's just his shirt collar. It's like, I don't think there's any way for me to take a light and manipulate the shadow on my own neck and recreate that. I think it would be impossible. Like if I was to take different lights at different angles and try to recreate this on my own neck, I don't think it's possible. So anyone out there that thinks that they can recreate what's happening to Joe Biden here, or better yet, what's happening with Robert Harward, if you can recreate this with some lights at home, I'd love to see it. So there's been people out there make the claim, oh, it's just lighting, just a shadow. Well, recreate it on your neck. Make it look like you're wearing a mask with just lighting. I don't think it can be done. I don't think you can take just, a desk lamp and a fluorescent light or whatever and put it at different angles and make it look like what we see here. No, this requires the manipulating of pixels on the screen, in my opinion. All right. And I probably missed a few super chats. So let's see here. RY says, Elmo responds to allegations that he is Grover wearing a hyper-realistic mask and insists it's just a shadow. Elmo is sick of all the conspiracy theorists that are making up all these crazy lies about Elmo being Grover in a hyper-realistic mask. It's just a shadow. Elmo can't possibly be Grover. Elmo is a completely different color than Grover is. Elmo is red and Grover is blue. It can't be possible. All right. There you go, RY. RY, ladies and gentlemen. He's a grown man who can't get enough of me doing Elmo. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate all the super chats tonight. All right. So what do you guys think? I want to hear from you guys. And looks like I got some laughing emojis coming in. Sweet, sweet. So what do you guys think about Robert Harward here? Do you guys think it's AI made to look like a mask? Or do you think they use AI and a mask? Or do you think it's just a mask? I'm starting to lean more towards AI that was prompted to look like a hyper-realistic mask. Personally. Instrumental Artistry says, you can see the shadow of the neck changed. Definitely a mask. And so I'm not trying to influence anyone to think for sure it's a mask, because if it is AI that they prompted to look like a mask, well, then, if that's what it is, then I'm not trying to force anyone or get anyone to think for sure it's a physical, hyper-realistic mask. Because the more I've looked at it and watched it, I'm starting to lean more towards it being like completely AI generated, but that they told the AI to make it look like a mask and have the mask showing, if that makes sense. Rickodemus says he got his throat cut and never got it fixed. No, see, the problem is I'm going to show you other examples of Robert Harward, and just earlier today or yesterday, he did another appearance, but he's got a suit and tie, and he's not showing his neck at all, but his face doesn't quite look like this one that we're looking at now. So I want to show you guys like a comparison between the face that he has here and then the face that they show him in other shots. It's like a slightly different Robert Harward that they're showing us. And I think they're doing it on purpose. showing us like a CGI version and a real guy, switching them out. The Cat Zone says shirt collars and their damn shadows. That's the mainstream media excuse. And to me, that's absolutely ridiculous. That's the last thing I believe that it is just a regular shadow. I've seen lots of people wear shirts, and I've seen lots of people underneath all sorts of different lights at, rock and roll shows and on TV and whatnot, and live broadcasts and whatnot. And I've never seen, except for 2 examples, where it looks like a mask or a CGI overlay. And it's this one and the Joe Biden example. And those are the only 2 where I'm like, holy shit, that's definitely not a shadow. So anybody who's like, oh no, it's definitely a shadow, both examples, I'm like, screw that. Not going to believe that. All right. New Tartarians says, hello, Sir Jake. I appreciate your take that they are using AI mask guy as damage control. Also, the timing seems aligned with giving a short-term distraction while they recharge the war fear piston in the machine. So, like I said, they serve this up with some random irrelevant guy no one's ever heard of, so that the backlash and outrage won't really be there. And then they can offer up the super simplistic excuse that it's just a shadow. And then now they've essentially trained the sheeple at home that if they ever hear anyone mention this or point at something like this in the future, they can say, oh yeah, it's a shadow. I saw it happen with the Fox News guy, and it was just a shadow, right? And then if you retroactively go back and look at Joe Biden and you find the example like I showed, they can say, oh yeah, that happened with the Robert Harward. It was just a shadow. That happened with the Fox News guy. Just a Zoom call glitch. So yeah, hell yeah, it's damage control. Not only that, they have people like Fittest Flat Earther who specifically don't talk about hyper-realistic masks and specifically muddy the water of truth by saying it's shape-shifting and fallen angels. So Fittest Flat Earther, Tyler Hansen, gets promoted on all the platforms, and he says that these shapeshifters just magically shapeshift because they're fallen angels. So he doesn't talk about these hyper-realistic masks and these actors wearing disguises, masks, and them using AI along with it. So you're more likely to hear someone like Tyler Hansen say that this is an actual shapeshifter, a fallen angel, right? Rather than tell you the truth that this is AI made to look like a mask and done on purpose, right? So you're only going to hear this take from a guy like me. You'd be hard pressed to find anyone give this take that I've told you. And I got all the video clips to back up what I'm saying. So thank you for the super generous super chat, New Tartarians. I appreciate that. Absolutely damage control. They're trying to get out in front of this subject because more and more people are starting to notice that all these celebrities are looking different as fuck. Like almost every major celebrity gets replaced at some point and starts looking completely different. And they keep saying, Botox, plastic surgery. Right? So now they can offer up even something more simple. It's a shadow. All right. So let me show you guys the mainstream media excuses. And then they even have what looks like different versions of this Robert Harward guy. It's almost like they debunked themselves. All right. So yeah, the New York Post, which is some laughable mainstream media, but it's mainstream media. And they offered up both the excuses that it's a shadow and just a Zoom call glitch. So I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. And the narrative that they use is sleuths of online conspiracy theorists think that it's a mask. Sleuths.
Internet sleuths have come up with the wild theory that this Fox News guest was wearing a hyper-realistic mask, straight out of Mission Impossible. Retired Vice Admiral Robert Harward has gone viral for his May 19th interview on Fox News, after hordes of social media users noticed what they said appeared to be an unusual shadow on the bottom of his neck, leading to the wild theory that the contributor was wearing a hyper-realistic mask. Many fueling the notion have pointed out that Harward is a regular contributor to the program, and that in all his appearances, several of which were as recent as this month, his neck appears completely normal.
Whoa! See what I'm saying? Look at this. Look, you see this? Got a problem here. This and this don't quite match. So you're telling me this guy sat in front of some fucking lights and it did this? And that they didn't manipulate the pixels on the screen with some sort of editing program or AI? So you're telling me this dude right here with these wrinkles and all this detail and this old wrinkly neck sat down in front of some lights that just so happened to make him look like this? See? And this is in the New York Post video. They're showing us this example. And then they're saying, oh, he appears on Fox News all the time. Yeah, well, this one obviously doesn't make him look like he's wearing a mask. And I can see lots of wrinkles and detail. And his eyes look like way more like light blue. And he looks way more human in this shot. This one, come on. You guys see what I'm saying? So it's like they're showing us different versions of Harward. So this is why I'm starting to lean more towards this version of Harward is CGI, and that they don't even need a mask. And that this is the real Harward. And that they put this real guy on screen with his real skin. You can see the texture. Looks a lot more like real skin. Then they put this guy on screen and make this as obvious as possible. And they just try and pass it off like, yeah, conspiracy theorists online think that Robert Harward was wearing a mask. But look, here's an example of him on Fox News, and he's not looking like he's wearing a mask. Yeah, well, I'm not stupid. This guy doesn't even really quite look like this guy. You see what I'm saying? So we're looking at like two different versions of Robert Harward, and this one looks extra AI. So the more and more I looked into this, the more and more I started to lean towards this version being AI, and that they don't even need to have a mask, right? Just spit out this AI version of Robert Harward. And then you can whip out the real version. And then spin this story that crazy conspiracy theorists online think that it's a mask.
All his appearances, several of which were as recent as this month, his neck appears completely normal. The outlandish claim has since spread like wildfire and turned into a full-blown internet meltdown, as many couldn't help themselves but to weigh in. Left-wing podcaster Ed Krasenstein joined in on the hysteria on X. Can anyone really explain this? Why does it look like Fox News put a man with a mask in their show? He wrote. While conservative media personality Meghan McCain jokingly called back to another viral internet moment, writing, "That motherfucker is not real."
So and here's where they get the audience to laugh and joke about it. They refer back to the lady who supposedly saw the alien on the airplane. That motherfucker's not real. So they refer to this to get people to make a joke about it. That motherfucker's not real. Ha ha ha. Like the airplane lady, right? Davey D from the LaFleur Network says Temu mask. Bro, totally. So Again, I don't want to lead anybody astray. I'm not going to sit here and say for sure it's a mask. As I've stated like 10 times tonight in the stream, it looks more and more like AI, but they prompted the AI to look like a hyper-realistic mask. And then they whipped out this more crispy, detailed version that looks like the actual Robert Harward here. And then they gaslight the those of us who are paying attention. Like, yeah, look, the crazy conspiracy theorists think that that Robert Harward was wearing a mask, but look, clearly he's not wearing a mask. It's like, yeah, that's not the same fucking guy that you're showing us is this.
which were as recent as this month, his neck appears completely normal. The outlandish claim has since spread like wildfire and turned into a full-blown internet meltdown, as many couldn't help themselves but to weigh in. Left-wing podcaster Ed Krasenstein joined in on the hysteria on X. Can anyone really explain this? Why does it look like Fox News put a man with a mask in their show? He wrote. While conservative media personality Meghan McCain jokingly called back to another viral internet moment, writing, "That data," while another asserted that the oddity can simply be explained by a smoothing filter that...
So here's the two excuses. It's a shadow, or more precisely, a combination of shadows from the many lights in the studio and his shirt collar creating a weird overlap of the shades on his neck. There is no mask that moves like his face. There is no reason to wear a mask, let alone one that boring. I wish Occam's razor was still taught in school. See, so this is what they served up this psyop to do, was to offer up this super simple, easy to repeat excuse that all the normies can easily remember, right?
It's a shadow, or more precisely, a combination of shadows from the many lights in the studio, and his shirt collar creating a weird overlap of shades on his neck, one user wrote. While another asserted that the oddity can simply be explained by a smoothing filter that caused artifacting that they noted is common on virtual calls. Even Polymarket has gotten in on the action, allowing users to wager on the outlandish theory.
Oh, you can wager on it. You can bet on it. Oh, yeah, that's not sketchy at all. You can bet on whether he was wearing a mask or not. Who in the hell would put money on the line for something like this? Oh, I'm going to bet he was wearing a mask. I'm sure I'm going to win. All right. So the fact they have this other secondary excuse, the smoothing filter cause artifacting. This one's like a slightly more technological excuse. So now they got two excuses. So the whole reason that they serve this up is to serve up these super easy to repeat excuses for the sheeple at home. The people who don't want to face the uncomfortable truth that this was done on purpose and that they're using AI versions of these world stage characters and duping people. And that they're even using AI versions of the president to dupe the public. That's an uncomfortable reality to face. So something a lot more easy to digest is it's just a shadow. Just a shadow. See? Such an easy excuse to digest. So that's exactly why they serve this up. Rex James says, what's good, Jake? Can we get Russell Brand talking about his new Caddy Daddy shirt? I appreciate the generous donation. So Russell Brand doesn't sell Caddy Daddy t-shirts. Jack Morgan sells Caddy Daddy t-shirts. Russell Brand is a British Nazi boy that you'll see hanging out with Candace Owens and other online political shills. And he likes to use lots of big words to make it sound like he's an intellectual. And you can see him floating around in space in the International Space Station, where he's high above planet Earth, looking down upon civilization. And right now, when I look out the window of the International Space Station, I can see that the globe is in dire need of some fixing. We need Heavenly Father to bestow upon us the ways in which we can fix this globe and turn this thing around. Right now, We need to turn this son of a bitch around right here. But before we do, I have to ask you, do I have a piece of hay stuck within the crevices of my horse teeth? I don't sell catty daddy t-shirts, but if I did, I would tell you that Jack Morgan is 100% the greatest channel right now on YouTube, and he sells these catty daddy t-shirts. So he's inspired me to sell a catty daddy t-shirt of my own. I don't know. I was trying to figure out how to get Russell Brand to sell a Caddy Daddy t-shirt. So yeah, Jack Morgan is the guy that sells the Caddy Daddy shirts, not Russell Brand. So I was trying to figure out how I'm going to get Russell Brand to sell them. So it just so happens I've been watching Jack Morgan, and I decided to buy some of his Caddy Daddy t-shirts and then resell them in my merch store. It's such a beautiful Cadillac that I thought I could show it to you all right here live in this stream. And of course, you can get a discount using my promo code down below. All right, Rex James. Sorry I couldn't do a better job on that one. But yeah, Russell Brand totally does not sell the Caddy Daddy t-shirts. RY says it's so obvious, it clearly seems like gaslighting. So it's always gaslighting to those of us who know the truth, right? But those of us who know the truth is such a small fraction of people paying attention. So they know they're gaslighting this very small fraction of people. And that the rest of people are not paying attention at all, or they're sheep who are totally going to buy into it being a shadow. So they know the majority of soccer moms and senior citizens and whatnot watching the news at home, if they hear about this hyper-realistic mask and that it's a shadow, that's what they're going to believe and that's what they're going to repeat. So they're basically desensitizing the sheeple at home, if they ever hear about this subject, to just go ahead and assume that it's just a shadow because of Occam's razor. The easiest explanation, probably true. Just a shadow, right? How the hell can I get that shadow on my neck, right? Let me see if I can manipulate the shadow on my neck and make it happen. Let's see here. I'm gonna take one of my lights here. All right, let's see if I can cause myself to have a shadow on my neck that looks like I'm wearing a mask. Let's see. Some cold light. There we go. Huh? Oh, look. See? Mask line. Shadows. Huh? See, look, guys. See? There's the mask line right there. Huh? No. Couldn't quite get it to look like the one on Robert Harward's neck, right? I don't think any way I do this, I'm going to get it to look like the one on Robert Harward's neck, right? I don't think there's any way I can manipulate the shadow on my neck and get it to look like that. So I challenge anyone at home, try and take whatever light you need and try and get that effect on your neck and then show it, right? Take a picture of it, take a video of it. So I personally don't think it's possible. Can you put shadows on your neck? For sure, right? But it don't look like this.
Hordes of social media users noticed what they said appeared to be an unusual shadow on the bottom of his neck that they noted is common on virtual calls. Even Polymarket has gotten in on the action.
All right. So we knocked that one out. All right, so there's channels out there who are taking the mainstream media stance that it is just a shadow. In fact, huge channels like Ass Mongoloid says it's just a shadow, right? So I noticed several YouTube channels reacted to this video clip and then asked their audience if they think it's a mask, and then they concluded that they think it's just a shadow. So you'd be hard pressed to find another channel discuss this in detail like I have and give you like an actual plausible reason why they made it obvious, why they use this irrelevant military guy who no one's ever heard of. Imagine if they were to have done this with Jim Carrey. Imagine if instead of Jim Carrey showing up just looking the way he did last time, but imagine if he had that shit going on with his neck that Robert Harward did. That'd have been crazy. Speaking of Jim Carrey, we haven't heard from him ever since he showed up looking all different, like he was wearing a mask, right? So what the hell happened to Jim Carrey? How come Jim Carrey never came out and cleared up all the confusion about him possibly wearing a mask? You would think that Jim Carrey would have came out and addressed all his fans personally and been like, look, you guys, it's me. I got some work done on my face. Got a little Botox done. It's not a mask, you crazy weirdos. Like, he could have came out and showed us, right? So there's no example of Jim Carrey showing up and explaining what happened, right? So the fact that they made a big deal about the Jim Carrey mask, and then now they're doing this, it's like they're doing damage control about all talk about these masks. So anyone who brings these up, now they have these different excuses that are nice and easy to serve up. Like, oh, you thought that Jim Carrey looked different? Botox. Oh, you noticed that weird thing on Robert Harward or Joe Biden's neck? Shadow. Zoom call artifact, right? So what they're doing is they're just offering up these stories about these masks and then offering up the easiest to repeat excuses. And so they've essentially trained the public to repeat this shit to people like me or you who might point at these imposters wearing masks or using AI. So expect the nearest sheeple near you to repeat these same excuses that it's just a shadow. And it looks like I missed this super chat from earlier from Davy D. LaFleur. Says over 370 plus in the chat. Please go back and double check that you hit the thumbs up button for the #1 truther source. Also, big shout out to the live chat room. Davy D, I appreciate the positivity and support. Longtime supporter of the channel, and he's sent countless super chats, and he's always keeping it positive with encouraging messages like this. So yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the stream tonight so far, I still got more to cover. In fact, I have some NFL rigged action to talk about tonight. There's somebody who says that the players are not involved in the NFL games being rigged, so I'm going to be roasting that clown tonight. Quantum of conscience, quantum of consciousness, conscience. I'm going to be roasting his ass tonight because he said that the players are not involved in the NFL games being scripted. So once I finish up with this Robert Harward story, and I'm almost finished, I'm going to move on to the next topic. So if you guys are enjoying the stream, hook a brother up with a thumbs up. If you're watching live right here, right now, take a quick second to hit the thumbs up. And if you're watching the replay, take a second to hit the thumbs up. It definitely does help. You know, the streams that get more thumbs up, it seems like they show it to more people. And then the streams where hardly anyone hits thumbs up, it's like they don't notify people that I even did the stream. So hook a brother up, help a brother out, hit the thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. All right. Davey D coming in with a super chat. All right. Rex James says, Jake, maybe they are doing it just for clicks. I know the mainstream media is dying, so they are doing it on purpose for views. They can get views in a number of different ways with their scripted bullshit. Now, they're purposely desensitizing the subject to hyper-realistic masks. I've never heard of a mainstream media report use the term hyper-realistic mask, right? And so here you have New York Post actually using the words hyper-realistic mask. Look in the title. So you typically would never hear the mainstream media putting hyper-realistic mask in their title or talking about hyper-realistic mask at all, right? So the fact that this is something I've talked about for years, and now here it is in the mainstream media, and they're using this really obvious example that they put out there on purpose. They're not just doing it for clicks. They're trying to gatekeep this topic, get out in front of it, and train the people at home that if they hear anything about this subject, hyper-realistic mask, that they just spout the government-accepted excuse, the government-approved excuse that it's just a shadow, right? So that's what this video is all about. It's just a shadow. And if you don't like that, then it's a smoothing filter that caused artifacting because of a Zoom call. So the fact that they have hyper-realistic mask in the title and then these built-in super simplistic excuses, they aren't doing it just to get views. They're doing it to train the public to make that excuse if they ever hear the words hyper-realistic mask. And it just so happens to be something I talk about and have talked about for years. All right. I think I might be done with this subject and we can move on. Oh, yeah. I found a recent video from like yesterday of Robert Harward from a day ago. So the 26th. So yesterday. So I found a more recent example of Robert Harward from just yesterday. And of course, this version of Robert Harward, no hole in the neck, no mask line, no shadow. Well, we see a shadow here, but it doesn't look like the last one. So they got him buttoned up here, suit and tie. And this is from yesterday. So check this out, y'all. One second. Check it out. Let me go down to the comments and see if anyone's talking about the mask. Oh, look at that. Comments turned off. Of course. Comments turned off. Why would they turn off the comments on this video?
Admiral Robert Harward. He is former deputy commander of U.S. Central Command and a fellow at the Jewish Institute for National Security of America. Admiral Harward.
Whoa! A what institute?
Vice Admiral Robert Harward. He is former deputy commander of U.S. Central Command and a fellow at the Jewish Institute for National Security of America.
Yeah, you know, those job occupations are totally trustworthy. There's no way a guy who does that job, those jobs, would ever lie. This guy must be super honest. No way would he ever dupe the public with a mask or AI made to look like a mask. No way. In fact, I'm sure he's going to come out and explain to all of us that this was all a misunderstanding. I'm sure he's going to go into detail and show us his neck and explain that it was totally just a shadow, right?
Admiral Harward grew up in Iran and went to school in Tehran. Admiral, great to have you on. I'm a little confused because now we have the president just saying Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Highly enriched uranium is topic one, and now you have Iran saying they're not going to talk about highly enriched uranium. What do you make of that?
It's Iranian rhetoric, the same thing it's been since they started. It's meaningless. They're either going to give up the material and a vow to not have nuclear weapons, or there'll never be a deal. It's very clear and simple. The president said that repeatedly, so Iran can talk all they want. But then at the end of the day, if they're not going to agree to that, there'll be no end to this conflict.
All right, so there's something about the way he talks and the cadence that kind of reminds me of Joe Biden a little bit, you know? And then the pronunciation of the words is kind of clunky.
The president said that repeatedly, so Iran can talk all they want. But then at the end of the day, if they're
But then at the end of the day,
so Iran can talk all they want. But then at the end of the day, if they're not going to agree to that, there'll be no.
Iran can talk all they want, but then at the end of the day, if they're not going to agree with them. Oh, okay. So you're not going to fucking explain what went on with your neck, cocksucker? Right? They should have just had him be like, oh, did you guys see that crazy story about my neck? You guys are crazy. It was just a shadow. Look, right? They could have totally like rubbed this in our face and had him like lead this interview off by explaining that, wow, it was crazy that my neck went viral. You know, all the years I've been doing this, never had this happen before. I just want to let you guys know it was just a shadow and nothing to be worried about. And anyone saying it was a mask, right? So instead, they just fucking sweep it under the rug, don't mention anything about it, and then shut the comments off. And then they send them back out there with no mask line, no weird neck, and just have them talk about Iran and the Strait of Hormuz as if nothing ever happened.
End to this conflict.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. You had Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, was saying that there is a plan B. He talked about plan A, but he also kind of focused on plan B, though he didn't precisely give us plan B. Listen to what he said.
We all would love to see an agreement with Iran in which the straits are open and they abandon their nuclear ambitions and so forth. That's what work is ongoing even as I speak.
On the ground, all those things that would compel this regime to capitulate. So we've done strikes. We could put raids into cities along the Gulf, like
all those things that would compel to capitulate. So we put those things, we capitulated to in a compelling fashion. This is why Iran, they got to get up early in the morning. It's capitulation, right? It's like, it sounds like a fucking delusional Joe Biden character in a way, right? Like, where have we seen this before? Oh, that's right. Kind of sounds like Joe Biden. Same technology that they used to fake Joe Biden for years.
Josk, Bandar Abbas, other places like that, to make sure the Iranians know that at the end of the day, this conflict's not going to end until the straits are open, the uranium and the nuclear weapons program is over, and more importantly, or just as importantly, funding of their surrogates and their missile programs are eradicated. So,
and just the way his eyes are just so deep and sunken into his head, he's just a strange looking person, right? RY says, you can tell it's real because it looks so fake. You can tell it's real because it looks so fake. That's because everything that is real, of course, looks fake. And so, of course, the opposite holds true as well, that everything that looks real is fake. So if you see something that looks so real, then that's how you know it's fake. And so when you see Robert Harward appear to be wearing a mask, you can tell that it's real because it looks so fake. Yeah. Right, little Elon logic. Rex James says, Jake, maybe they are doing it just for... Oh, yeah, I read that one already. RY says, be young. The mask is a distraction from Epstein. O'Brien from High Impact Vlogs, High Impact Flicks. So right now, this Robert Harward story is going viral. And surprise, surprise, nothing goes viral unless they want it to. So right now, they have this story distracting people from what's really going on, from what's really important. And that, of course, is the Epstein files. They don't want you to know all about what those pedos did on Jeffrey's Island. And so right now, they've got people focusing in on what maybe is a shadow, maybe is a mask. I'm not sure. But one thing I can tell you, this is definitely a distraction from the Epstein files. Yeah. Any shill telling you that anything is a distraction from the Epstein files, that's how you know that they're a fucking shill, right? Anybody still pushing Epstein file shit like that's important news. And anytime they mention that any current PSYOP story is some sort of a distraction from the PSYOP Epstein story, that's how you know that they don't know shit about truth and that they fell for the mainstream media alternative right-winger conspiracy. The Epstein file shit. That's like one of the easiest conspiracies to get duped by for sheeple. It's like sheeple conspiracy bait, the Epstein file stuff. Right up there with conspiracy theories about how Charlie was killed. Erica Kirk was probably involved with Charlie's death because of her crazy eyes. So if you hear anyone mentioning that Charlie's death was some sort of conspiracy, if they bring up Charlie being dead at all, that's how you know they don't know shit about what's really going on, right? That they fell for the right-wing conspiracy bait. Just like if you hear anyone still going on and on about Epstein file shit, making a big deal about that, yeah. Shows you that they don't really know what's going on. They haven't figured out the world stage and that everything's scripted. It's always a distraction from you figuring out that everything's scripted and scripted many years in advance.
Now, at the end of the day, it's been very clear what the administration wants. We've put that in paper. The Iranians continue to talk but not deliver. So this thing will go on. And I think those strikes, which I hope would focus on the IRGC and those components of.
Nate X, the original, says, did they scrub the AI mask appearance from official Fox channel? So I found a re-uploaded version that was just downloaded and re-uploaded without any edits or cuts or anyone's audio. So the one I found wasn't on Fox News. So the one I used for my video was a re-uploaded clip that some channel that wasn't Fox News just downloaded and re-uploaded, right? So yeah, you can find the original clip out there unedited, or just re-uploaded. I'm pretty sure. Rickodemus says he's got the Alex Jones audio filter going on. So yeah, guys, I've been talking about the Alex Jones character was recently or semi-recently replaced within the last 2 years by possibly Will Sasso or some other actor, but it's definitely not Bill Hicks anymore. And so we've talked about the use of hyper-realistic masks with the Alex Jones character. And we've also pointed at some examples where it looked like they were using an AI Alex Jones, like sticking like an AI face overlay, like almost like you can take Will Sasso, not even have him wear a mask, and then just stick a AI Alex Jones overlay over Will Sasso's face and then have Will Sasso do his best Alex Jones impression, and then just tinker with the audio files a bit, right? So between post editing software and AI and hyper-realistic masks, I'm sure they can do a lot of incredible stuff. Now, it's not going to be perfect, and there's definitely going to be some anomalies and some glitches and whatnot that are probably going to stick out from time to time. But I'm sure they can do a fantastic job if they wanted to. If their goal was to not get caught at all and not make it obvious and make it as realistic looking as possible, then we wouldn't be seeing stuff like what we saw with this Robert Harward guy, or with Joe Biden, or the bad versions of Alex Jones. So it's almost like they do a shitty job with the replacements, and they make it obvious that they've replaced these celebrities. And they don't care if we notice, because they know there's not enough of us to do anything about it. You know, like, what's 10,000 of us going to do if there's 10, 20, 30,000? I mean, how many people are really noticing that celebrities have been replaced and are actually vocalizing it? You know, probably not that many. So, yeah, they're probably using a lot of the same techniques that they use with Joe Biden, that they use with Robert Harward, that they currently use with Trump, that they currently use with Alex Jones. Hell yeah, man. You know, they got an unlimited budget essentially at their disposal. And they don't even need to make it look that good. They know they can make it look shitty and show it to us on purpose, and that we can't do shit about it. RY says, net guy interpreting for Hawking. All right, let me dial in the voice just a little more. Let me pull him back up and dial it in for a second. If I'm listening to it, I can do an impression even better.
Continue to murder their people are the ones we should be targeting at the end of the day. So I would hope those strikes would focus on those centers of gravity.
A lot of
So we're here to talk to Stephen Hawking, who's here to tell you all about his exciting new discovery, which happened in outer space. So he said that Stephen Hawking said he's deeply saddened and depressed that he never got a chance to go to outer space, but that he's glad that there's organizations out there like SpaceX and NASA doing such a wonderful job. And the fact that we just returned to the moon, he said that he cried when he saw the astronauts fly past the moon. And he was just telling me while he was mumbling that he needs his diaper change like right now. So yeah, he said that he just went number 2 in his diaper, and he needs to have his diaper changed immediately before he continues this interview. All right. Let's get on with the show here. I pretty much covered this guy, said what I needed to say. So now we can move on to the next topic. All right. So the next topic, I caught wind from a commenter who watches the channel here, and told me that this guy Matt from Quantum of Conscience, that he was talking about the NFL being scripted, and he was saying that the players aren't involved, and that anyone who thinks that is just stupid and ridiculous. So essentially, this guy Matt from this other YouTube channel, who's got almost the exact same amount of subscribers as mine, was essentially talking shit about people who know that the NFL is scripted and that all the players are in on it. And he was saying that that the players are not in on it. So let me show you guys this channel, and what he said, and we'll break it down. And I know we got some football fans out there who haven't heard me talk about the NFL in a while, so we'll get into a little football talk, and I'm going to be debunking this. I don't know if he's a shill or just a useful idiot, but he's definitely spouting off the mainstream narrative that only the refs are involved in rigging games, and that's just simply not true. So I'm sure some of you guys have watched this channel before. Here he is, Matt from Quantum of Conscience. Hi guys, it's Matt, and I wanted to make a video so that I could lose subscribers, because I'm Matt. Hi guys, it's Matt. I'm Matt. This is how Matt speaks. There's people out there that think that the NFL is scripted, and they think that the players are involved, and that's just ridiculous. And I'm Matt, and I'm going to be a total smug asshole, and I'm going to try and lose subscribers, and I'm going to tell you that it's absurd to think that players are in on it.
Hey guys, it's Matt. Well, it was
Hi, Matt.
96 degrees like 5 days ago, and now it was in the 40s. I put all the space heaters away, and the heater in this room is, I have heat in the house. I could turn the oil burner back on. I'm trying to hold out. What's left to discuss, guys? I especially when I look at the headlines at CNN this morning on behalf of Duluth and Dubuque, and it's not plaid, it's bozo range, but there's nothing. It's just boring. It's almost like it's not even trying anymore to it's trying to drag out the Iran war, create controversy where it can, but its efforts are, you could say, impotent. Is that the right phrase for a government, or just an appendage? It's impotent. There's nothing even there to make fun of. So I guess with my subscriber numbers going down 50 to 70 as it tracks every 28 days, the metric you get, it's on moon cycles. I guess Google gives itself away by giving you your subscriber numbers based on the last 28 days. Is that the moon cycle? I guess what's left that may be enjoyable or entertaining to some of you are half pages. My half page is fixed. What this reality is, what I'm doing here is a half page. It's a few sentences. Yeah, I can that really absurd, and I present the way they think about it as completely absurd and actually kind of ridiculous and impossible. Their take on it. Then how many subscribers can I lose from?
So he's talking about how many subscribers can he lose, and the title is "In Rig Sports, It's Absurd to Think the Players Are In on It." So right away when I started the video, I'm like, this dude's going to say something to piss me off. And just this title is pissing me off. If you want to lose subscribers or whatever, hey, that's fine. But like, if you're going to bring up the NFL and say that the players are not in on the fix, I'm like one of the only guys on the internet who that's truly going to piss off, who absolutely is going to say something about it. And that's what this is. This dude about to say some stupid shit. And I'm about to roast this fucking clown right here, right now, for the stupid shit he's about to say.
That with the goal to eventually get down to just 10 to 15,000 subscribers, 10 to 15,000 from 90,000, because it's not ever going to go up. So why not? Let's try to do something unique and different, make it go down. So here's a good example. I didn't go after or went after, I don't like those terms, but let's just say that the Trans Paco Taco Army, roughly 4 years ago, those that were very committed to the Trans Paco Taco Army, those that were sergeants and
I don't know what that is, and I don't care what that is. Matt, get to what your title is talking about with the NFL.
Corporals, and every single is a man. Just take a mistake and say that Michael O may be an actual first lady. Would not milk once from you, going down, not from me. They took their ball and went home. Well, Matt, if you're going to be so condescending, I could see why. Yeah, I can be obnoxious and condescending. You know that. Old guard knows that. So if we can try to do that for all these different segments of the truth research community that have dug in to their little agendas, and I can piss off each segment at a time, imagine how fast the subscriber numbers will fall here. Well, Matt, why would you want to do that? Because I've never taken a penny of ad revenue. Why would I care about the number of subscribers? So what group inside the truth community can we piss off today?
What group in the truth community can we piss off today? And out of all the groups, he's going to choose people who watch my content, who watch me break down the NFL and talk about that the players are all in on it. He's going to talk specifically about how people who think the players are in on it are absurd. And then he's going to get insulting. So essentially, out of all the audiences that this guy can insult, he picks mine. Now, I know not everybody watches my NFL stuff, but there are tens of thousands of people who love my NFL content. And I know some of you guys watching right now are regular watchers of the NFL content. And you know I have shown countless examples over the last 4 seasons of all the players being in on the act, and that it is not just 1 or 2 players. It's not just the refs. All the players are playing pretend football. And that's the stance he's going to attack. And that's what I'm here to defend. But before I do, I got a super chat here from RY. It says, Richie from Boston offers Matt some Bible vape juice.
So this fella, Matt, he seems like he's quite literally got something stuck up his ass, all right? That's probably why he's in such a pissy mood. Now, I know exactly what's going on. What Matt has, it's truly a depressing thing to find out. What Matt has going on is he has Chinese nano drones deeply implanted within his rectum. He has what looks like early onset of Chinese nano AIDS. And what Matt doesn't know is the only way his life will be saved, the only salvation he will ever get, is if he vapes my 100% organic Bible vape juice. Now, Matt, if you're watching right now, this is Richie from Boston. I am willing to send you out some of my organic Bible vape juice, and it will get rid of the Chinese nano drones that are for sure lodged within your anus. I can tell you right now, you most definitely have Chinese nano AIDS. Now, how far blown these AIDS are, I don't know. At any rate, please like, share, and subscribe. And also, at any rate, I digress. It's Richie from Boston. I'm out.
All right. There you go. Little Richie from Boston action.
Now, also, what you guys don't realize is that I've been working on my organic Bible vape juice. And not only does it cure nano AIDS, but now I've actually been working on a new concoction, which not only cures nano AIDS, but also simultaneously cures male erectile dysfunction, otherwise known as impotence. So if you're tired of your impotence, if you're tired of your thing not doing what you want it to do, then you're going to want to vape my 100% organic Bible vape juice. Do it now. Like, share, and subscribe, or don't. Richie from Boston, I'm out.
All right. All right, there you go, brother. 2 back-to-back Richies just for you. And then Kreger coming in with a membership. Thanks for being a member all this time, Kreger. Good to see you tonight, buddy. Uncommon Truth Shaman. Oh, that's a cool name. It rhymes. Uncommon Truth Shaman says, roast this clown. Oh, we ain't even got started yet. We ain't even got started. This fool, Matt, is about to say some ridiculously retarded shit. And I'm totally going to debunk all of it. And I'm going to even show some examples too. So yeah, stick around. This clown is about to get served some embarrassment on a silver platter. Hey, but that's what he wants. That's what he wants. He wants to lose subs. All right, I can help him out. Kreger says, hi, Jake. Hi, Kreger. Good to see you tonight, buddy. Glad you can make it here. Thank you for the super chats, buddy. I appreciate it. All right, y'all. So in any minute here, he's going to start talking about how people who think that the NFL is rigged, that you're not wrong, but if you think the players are in on it, well, then you are wrong and you're absurd.
A group that's such a zealot in their ways that they won't take very kindly to what I'm saying about the particular topic that they're most interested and invested in. Before we do this, remember all of these topics regarding the half-page reality, what you as a spiritual incarnation are here to do, what the adversary is here to do to try to block you or keep you from, all this is irrelevant. Video, and I can't do that every time. Page, just a few sentences, and you haven't moved off it for years and years and years. And what the adversary is here to do to us is blatantly obvious. And actually, if you back up and look down from 100,000 feet, it's the way it behaves. And you do treading off different aspects or really little agendas. And they come and go from this channel for some reason. I don't know why, but they do. So the first one we can do today, maybe if we do this right, could lose maybe even up to 500 to 1,000 subscribers, which would be quite an accomplishment. Let's go for it. Go for it. The segment of the truth community that believes all sports are fake.
Here we go. Sorry, I didn't have the time stamp written down, but I had to find the spot where he finally gets into the subject here of sports being fake. And as you guys know, I am the number one debunker of the NFL in the world. I'm the number one sports is fake guy, right? The number one guy on this platform. Essentially, it's serving up the proof that not only is the NFL fake, but all sports are rigged and fake, right? Like that's one of my niches, right? And I've gotten a lot of views talking about it, and I'm not wrong, and I'm not tricking anybody. So what does Matt have to say about this subject that I've talked about for years?
All sports are fake, but here's the proviso. They're typing already. They're getting upset already. Put that mouse down for the thumbs down. Give me a minute here. God damn it. They're those that believe all the players are in on it. No, Matt's saying all sports are completely legitimate. Don't put words in my mouth. Don't put words coming out of my mouth. Did I say that? Here's what's so pathetic in the position that every players or most of a team is in on it, or all key players in the NBA and NFL matter. That's 20 players per are in on it, and they when the quarterback's going to make a little symbol to the wide receiver, the D-back sees it, and he knows not to cover real well. They think all these players are in on it, which to me, because they're mostly morons, is ridiculous and absurd and impossible.
Okay, so he's stating that it's impossible. That's a strong take, that it's impossible for all the players to be in on it. No. Matt, you've proven that you are the moron for thinking and then stating that something that's obvious is impossible. No, all the players are most definitely in on it. And I don't care how stupid you might think those football players are. The one thing that they do know is that game that they play. And if they've been trained to play that game their whole life, they've been trained to make every catch and every throw. And they've also been trained and told when to drop the ball, when to put the ball on the ground, when to throw the ball to the other team. I've seen countless examples of what are supposed to be great players making the stupidest mistakes on purpose. And it's clear they're doing it on purpose. So Matt is going to have to take the stance that when a player purposely screws up, purposely turns it over, that they did it on accident. Because according to Matt, it's impossible for the players who are morons to be in on the fix. So some people think just because these players aren't intellectual types, that there's no way that they can be told what to do on the football field or on the basketball court or on the baseball diamond. And that couldn't be further from the truth. All the players can easily be told what to do in every single game, in every single circumstance. In fact, in football, all the players are wearing a helmet with a headset. They can literally be told what to do on every single play, and they are told what to do. So this whole notion that like, oh, these guys are too dumb to be in on it. No, they've been playing this game their whole life. They were trained to play this game, and they got good enough to where they were offered the ability to make money playing a pretend version of the game. And the whole reason the game exists is to extract money from sports gamblers, A, and then B, sell a television product to the TV stations so that they can sell ad space. So the TV stations pay an ungodly amount of money to show the NFL games, and then the TV stations, they charge an ungodly amount of money for advertisers to advertise during those NFL games. So they got to create this product so that they can charge all this money to these advertisers. So they got to create this entertainment product that they can also extract the sports gamblers' money at the same time. So in order to do this, with all the money that's on the line, in order to do this effectively over and over and not lose, all the aspects of the game have to be completely controlled. All of the players have to be in on it, and they are not going to leave multi-billion dollars worth of sports bets on the table for random sports fans to win. So Matt will admit that these games can be fixed, but he's saying that it's impossible for the players to be in on it. No, it's impossible for the players to not be in on it, because you can't have the players on the field trying their hardest and get the exact result you want on the scoreboard and get the exact result you want as far as the favorite covering the spread or the underdog winning outright. They have these point spreads, and they also have team totals, and they also have player props. So there's so many different things to bet on, and people bet more money nowadays than ever. And so the fact that you can bet on player props, you can bet on the team total, you can bet on whether a team is going to cover the spread or not, and you can parlay all these different picks. It's not about just who wins and loses. So not only do they control and script who's going to win and lose, but they also have control of every little aspect of the game because there's so much money on the line, and they're not going to leave that money up to chance. So in order to beat the sports bettors routinely without Vegas having any risk of taking a loss, with the public betting big on a team that wins and causes Vegas or the sports books to lose, they have control over every game, every single regular season game, every preseason game, every playoff game, and the championship games. They have control over all of it, and all the players are involved. And thinking that the players aren't involved is kind of as stupid as thinking that the guys in the WWE are out there fighting for real. So thinking that somebody in the WWE doesn't know that it's all fake fighting and that there's some guys going out there fighting for real and they don't know it's a fake fight, yeah, that would be truly ridiculous. So thinking that there's football players going out there and playing for real when it's obvious that the quarterbacks are throwing the ball to the opposing team on purpose, running backs are fumbling on purpose, receivers are dropping balls on purpose, every defensive player during a game will miss a tackle or several. So the amount of mistakes that happen in a professional football game, there's way too many mistakes. And for all these to be professionals who are just accidentally screwing up and making all these mistakes, that would be impossible. Furthermore, you have to have all the players in on the act to keep outside money from manipulating what the players are going to do on the field. So the NFL can keep outside money from coming in and manipulating the game because they have all the players underneath their control. So there's no rich sports betting whales who can come along and pay the players on the field to take dives and blow games in order for them to bet the opposite way and make tons of money. So nobody can pay the players to lose games and take dives because the NFL already pays the players to lose and take dives. In fact, the NFL has to have control of all those players to make sure that no one outside of the system can manipulate any aspect of the game whatsoever. So no big mob crime boss can offer Matt Stafford of the Rams $1 million to lose the next game just so they can bet $3 million against him on the other side and win for sure, right? So to make sure that they can't pay any of the players off, they have all the players underneath their control, and all the players are completing a script. And you can have the players told what to do on any given play through their headsets, through earpieces, literally tell the quarterback what he's going to do on the next play, literally tell each of the defenders what they're supposed to do. So Matt saying it's impossible for all the players to be in on it is a lie. And I think he's either lying on purpose, which would make him a fucking shill, or he's an ignorant moron who's as dumb as the drunken fans in the stands.
They wouldn't be able to pull it off. I mean, anybody can easily see that. They say, I'm having a little bit of trouble speaking. I'm sorry. It'll improve, I think. These are the same truth researchers that believe there's a magnet in the basketball. So when some sort of
and there he says these are the researchers who believe there's magnets in the basketball. So now he's changing subjects to the NBA, and I've made videos about how the NBA has some sort of magnetic or some sort of technology in the ball and the hoop so that they can control whether the ball goes in the hoop or not. So Matt is suggesting here that it's ridiculous to think that there's any technology in the ball or in the hoop, when clearly that's how the whole game is controlled. Basketball, the whole game is whether the ball goes in the hoop or not. So if you can control almost 99% of the time whether or not it's going to go in or not, and you can control with a joystick or some sort of technology every time a player shoots whether or not that ball is going to go in, that's the easiest way to manipulate an NBA game. Would the players notice that technology is being used? Absolutely, they know. So, of course, the NBA players know when they throw the ball up there and it swishes, and then they're at nearly half court, they throw it up there again and it swishes, and you got a guy just knocking down three after three after three. Yeah, the players know that they're being assisted by the technology, and the players are told what's going to happen. They're told, like, oh, we need you to keep the game close. We need you to go back and forth, and we're going to keep this game super close, try and get lots of live betting action. We'll have this game go back and forth just as one team takes a big lead. Then we'll have the underdog come back. So they can script a basketball game almost easier than the other sports because all they need is control over whether that ball goes in that hoop. So that's the number one thing that they would absolutely put technology in the ball and the hoop, because that's what the whole game is based off of, the ball going in the hoop. And of course, the players on the court know that they're playing pretend basketball. The NBA is notorious for not only the players using the technology to make the shots, but the lack of defense. So in the NBA, guys purposely don't play defense. They purposely leave each other open to hit these threes. They purposely will leave the basket open so somebody can just dribble right on down the lane and hit a layup, right? So in the NBA, you'll see guys purposely not playing defense at all. In fact, it's become common. Fans expect teams to purposely not play defense. But you won't hear that from Matt.
Something that can change trajectory. And you so you wouldn't be able to see on a perfect arc, and it was going to miss long. The magnet or the whatever the little sensors are in the ball would jerk the ball in mid arc. That nobody would ever see that. It would see it's all being pulled off perfectly. Now, how for what 10, 15, 20 years? How long would these people say that all sports have been fake? Is it just 2 or 3 years ago? Well, if it was 5 years ago, why not 10 years ago? And if it was all fake 10 years ago, then why not 50 years ago? Why not back to the original creation of the sport? Go back, in some cases, close to 100 years. So let's not put.
Yeah, Matt, that was the whole reason that these sports were invented, is to keep people distracted, entertained, and at the same time create a way to extract their money. So while you have them drunk and distracted in the stands being entertained, you can also get them to pull out their phone and bet while they're watching the live game. If somebody can bet while they're watching the live game, then you better bet that what's happening on that field is controlled. They're not going to let drunken sports fans just bet on the better team who's winning and make easy money. And that's why in the NFL, one week a team looks great, and then the next week they look like shit. A team will look dominant for 4 or 5 weeks in a row, and then they'll lose to the worst team in the league, right? And then a team that'll have their quarterback get injured, and then they'll wheel out the backup, and everyone expects them to lose. Oh, well, that's the game that the backup quarterback just so happens to look great and win. So I've seen all the examples of a team going out there looking great like they're a playoff contender, only to go out there and shit the bed and lose to a shitty team. And so they create the narrative that that's an upset, and at any given week, anyone can beat anyone. But that's how they get you to bet and lose your money. Because in a real sport, the real sport of football, a good football team generally kicks the shit out of a bad football team every time, every single time, by a lot. So if you ever go watch real football, like a real high school team that's good, play a real high school team that's not very good, you'll see scores like 50-0, 75-0. Some of you guys out there watching probably know what I'm talking about. We're a good high school football team. It's nearly impossible that they lose to a bad football team. And there's no refs calls that are going to change the outcome of the game. So a good football team will throttle a bad football team. A team that's even slightly better will usually get up by a few scores, and then the team that's losing, if it's a real game, they'll give up. Once a team gets down by 3-4 touchdowns, they just give up. There is no exciting comeback. So in a real game of football, the good team generally kicks the shit out of the bad team, and you can't bet on it, because that would be a real easy bet to win. So I can't just go bet on this high school football team that I know is going to kick the shit out of the shitty high school football team. But I can bet on an NFL game where a team with a winning record might show up and shit the bed and lose to the worst team in the league on any given Sunday. And that's what they did. They created a product where the worst team in the league can beat the best team on any given Sunday. That's called an upset. And they extract millions, tens of millions, billions of dollars with these upsets. And they don't do it by just throwing flags at inopportune times. So the fans in the stands will blame the refs when their team loses. And Matt is going to bring up the refs. And he's going to bring up that the only way it can be rigged is through the refs. But you can't just throw flags and have one team get a bunch of bad penalties on them and get the exact outcome you want. You can't have an awesome football team against a shitty football team and just tell the refs to just throw flags on every single play to get the shitty team to win. That's not how it happens. What happens is you send the team out there with the better record against the shitty team with the worst record. The better team, record-wise, is playing pretend football, and the shitty team is playing pretend football. So they just go out there and play pretend football every single time. And that's why the shitty team can beat the good team on any given week, because it's a pretend game of football and all the players are in on it.
Words in coming out of my mouth. Don't put words in my mouth. Okay. Outcomes, but the NFL, if wants to see two teams in the Super Bowl, outcomes can be managed pretty easily. We've talked about this several times regarding what IBM used to put forth in terms of their supercomputer statistics regarding tennis matches and what each player needs to do to win. It's just 2 or 3 things they need to do, and the win would be assured by over 90%. So I've talked about this many times. Why would you think 12 players or 15 players on the field that come and go, no matter what the sport, need to be in on it? These morons.
Because, Matt, you cannot control the entire fucking outcome of a real game. If those guys on the field were playing for real, you can't get the exact desired outcome just by having referees throw penalty flags. That's fucking retarded, Matt. In fact, if guys are betting on the wide receiver to score a touchdown, if there's millions of dollars bet on a wide receiver to score a touchdown, a player prop bet, all they have to do is have that player not score a touchdown. If there's a shitload of money on a team to cover the spread, they can just have the underdog show up and kick the shit out of the favorite. And you don't need the refs. I can show many, many examples of the underdog showing up, kicking the shit out of the favorite in a pretend game, and the refs don't matter at all. The refs don't throw flags at every opportunity to get the shitty team to win. The shitty team with the worst record will look great on any given Sunday and beat up on a team with a better record who is supposedly the favorite. And the refs aren't involved in throwing flags in the outcome. It's the players on the field playing a pretend game. So there's plenty of games that don't come down to a bad call by the ref. And so I can show several different examples of the players on the field purposely screwing up, purposely losing games, and all of the players clearly being in on it. And so that's what I'm going to do next, now that Matt has made his point that that's impossible. I'm going to show you just how possible it is, but you guys already know.
Would need to be in on it when outcomes can be managed by having just, who do the refs work for? They work on their own, or they work for the league? Who do the coaches work for? They work for the owner. The owner of the NFL, Jeffrey Lurie of the Philadelphia Eagles, is the league itself. So all the coaches and the referees work for the league. So they wouldn't be able to manage outcomes on their own. Sure,
No, you can't. You can't just with referees get the exact number to fall right where the sports books want. You guys, so the sports books will say that an upcoming game on Monday Night Football, that it's a 3.5 point spread, and the over under is going to be 60 points. And they can have that final score fall right on a 4-point victory for the favorite, and they cover by a 0.5 point. And the over under falls right on 59 points. So it hit the over by exactly 1 point. And they can control all the player props. So if anybody bet a ton of money on the star wide receiver or quarterback or running back, they can just have that guy get injured in the first quarter and walk off the field. And that's easy money that they just collected. So if they want to beat the public on the point spread, on the team totals, not just on the outcome, but also the player props, they can beat the public on several different bets. Because a lot of people don't just bet on the outcome, they bet on all sorts of different things. So in order to have control over all the different avenues that you can bet your money, you have to have all the players in on it playing pretend football. And that's why you see guys like Aaron Rodgers a few years ago, within like the first few plays of the game, lays down on the ground, pretends to be injured, leaves the game. So Aaron Rodgers' fake injury from a few years ago was one of the most obvious fake injuries from a high-profile player. I don't know how Matt can defend something like that. So there's a number of different ways to beat the sports bettors, but you have to have all the players in on it. You can't just tell the refs, oh, we need 60 points scored exactly, and we need the home favorite to win by exactly 4 points. So just go out there and throw flags and get that result. You can't have two teams playing a real game of football, trying their hardest, and then tell the refs to just go out there, throw flags, and get the exact result on the point spread and the team totals and the player props. There's no way. You have to have all the players in on it. And they do have all the players in on it. That's how they can consistently win any and every bet across the board. They can annihilate the public on any given week on any bet they want. And if the public was to come with lots of live bets. So here's another thing. If there's a live game and the public starts betting heavy on the live game, they have the ability to change the script live and flip-flop the outcome. And the only way you can do that is to have all the players playing pretend football. You can just simply relay the message to the players on the field. Oh, some whale bet $3 million on this game. And so now we're going to have to flip-flop the outcome. So now we're going to have the shitty Raiders win this game. So the shitty Raiders were going to lose, but somebody came in and bet against the Raiders with $3 million live just now, and it flipped the amount of money so much so on the favorite that now we have to have the underdog win. So it's a lot easier with all the players underneath your control to just relay that message to the players. The players make it happen, and they can get the exact score you want. And if anything goes wrong, you have the refs there to throw a flag and reset the play. So the refs are there to keep the game on script. But you can't have a ref throw flags on every single play and get the exact outcome you want in a real legitimate football game. So drunken fans in the stands blame their team's losses on the refs' bad calls. So that's the stance that drunken fanboys take, is that their team lost because of a bad ref call, that the refs were against them. That's what the drunken fans say, who think that the games are real. The drunken fans think that their team, if their team plays good enough, can overcome the bad refs calls. So Matt has to take the stance here, and is taking the stance, that the drunken fanboys take, that when their team loses, it was because of the refs. So a drunken fanboy will take one bad call by a ref in a game and act as though that's the whole reason why their team lost. But they'll disregard the defensive players purposely missing tackles all game long. So a drunken fanboy will see 10 missed tackles by the defense where guys are missing tackles on purpose. But then they'll blame the ref for a few bad calls. And they'll say, we lost because of the refs. So here's Matt saying that the refs can control the outcomes of the game, but it's impossible for the players. That's a ridiculous take. Ridiculous take by Matt.
Ken. Okay, I want to make sure this is crystal clear. I'm sure it is, but the league can get the teams they want into the Super Bowl. They can do this without players being in on it.
No, they can't. That's ridiculous. You can't have 32 teams and just have refs throw flags and get the two teams you want in the Super Bowl. That's ridiculous. And the players don't know. So that would mean that the refs would literally have to have flags almost every single down to make sure that a good team doesn't accidentally beat the team they have planned to go to the Super Bowl. That's not happening. There's plenty of games where the refs don't really play that big of a role. So there's plenty of games where one team throttles the other team and the refs don't even come into play at all. But you can see players on both sides of the field playing pretend football. In fact, I've been talking. Let me show some examples, and then I'll bring Matt back up. So let me show an example here, because me talking isn't the best way to show the proof. So let me show an example of players on the field all doing something that doesn't make sense unless they're in on the act. So I'm going to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt all the players are in on it. All right. So in this example, the Raiders and Broncos were playing each other, and there was only 16 seconds left, and the Raiders were down by 10 points. And the game was out of reach. The Raiders had no chance at winning. But on the last play of the game, they kick a meaningless field goal specifically to cover the spread, which no team would just kick a meaningless field goal just to cover the spread unless they're being told to go out there and cover the spread. And then if a team goes out there specifically to kick a meaningless field goal when a game is already essentially over and there's no way to win, and they tell you to go out there and kick a field goal specifically to cover the spread, well, that means every player on the field knows what's going on and has to be in on it.
2nd and 10, the Raiders drop back to pass. And as the QB scrambles outside the pocket, he finds a receiver in the middle of the field. And as you can see here, he's touched down by the defense, and there's only 6 seconds left. So now the clock's just going to run out, and if you bet the Broncos -7.5, you're going to win, right?
7.5 point spread. The ball is complete. Broncos player touches the Raiders player down. And then you get
spike it in time. Oh, a flag comes out.
Then you get the flag that comes out from the ref. So here's the bad call to keep the game going.
Wrong. The refs call a meaningless delay of game, stopping the clock and keeping the game alive because we just forced.
And here's where all the players absolutely have to be in on it, because with 4 seconds left, the Raiders go out and kick a meaningless field goal.
Seconds left, the Raiders decide to kick a field goal for no reason whatsoever as time expires. So they end up losing by 7 instead of 10. And because of that meaningless decision, you lost the bet.
Okay, so it's a 7.5 point spread. Raiders are going to lose no matter what on the final play. And instead of trying to throw a touchdown and make this game even closer and only lose by 3 points, instead they kick the field goal, the meaningless field goal, knowing that they're going to lose, but they cover the spread by 0.5 point. So that means the players were sent on the field to kick a field goal knowing they're going to lose for sure, specifically just to cover the spread by 0.5 point. So if you're on the Raiders and you know you're going to lose and it's the last play of the game, why aren't you if it's a real game, you're trying to score a touchdown. So a real game, if all the players are trying their hardest and you know it's the last play, you're going to lose, you still try and score a touchdown because you're going to lose either way. Going out there and kicking a field goal, which covers the point spread by 0.5 point, all the players know they're being sent out there specifically to kick a meaningless field goal and cover the spread. So that means they have to be in on it.
A field goal for no reason whatsoever as time expires. So they.
And the fact that they had one of the Broncos players go run over there and lay on top of the Raiders player, and you get the flag from the ref, and then the players all run out on the field and kick this meaningless field goal. If it was a real game, there's no reason to kick a meaningless field goal. If it's a real game, players shouldn't care about the fucking point spread. Matt, hey, Matt, if you ever see this, players shouldn't care at all about the point spread. So the Raiders should have been trying to score a touchdown on the final play to make the game look as close as possible. If it was a real game, they'd be trying to throw a Hail Mary. Even though they know they were going to lose, if it's a real game, you still try and throw a final Hail Mary to make it as close as possible. But what you don't do is go out there and kick a meaningless field goal to cover the spread by 0.5 point. Unless it's pretend football designed to beat the sports bettors.
They end up losing by 7 instead of 10. And because of that meaningless decision, you lost the bet.
Okay, so all of that could be just a coincidence, right? Well, maybe, but the internet certainly doesn't seem so.
All right, so another example is the thumbs up play in the Super Bowl. This is a famous scripted play in the Super Bowl. Has nothing to do with referees. Matt, pay close attention. The referees are not making any bad calls on this play.
Big NFL clip. Everyone should see this clip at least once because it is the best proof that the NFL is as rigged and scripted as the WWE. Just like you see pro wrestlers talking to each other, signaling each other in the ring, here you have Doug Baldwin giving.
Doug Baldwin gives the thumbs up.
The thumbs up, which is clear as day.
Right? Nobody can say that he didn't give the thumbs up right there. Let me see there. So here we got the thumbs up from Baldwin. And then the Broncos defender just happens to be wearing orange, number 33. Watch the tackle attempt.
And then you see the defender go right over the top and whiff this tackle on purpose, just as planned. There would be no reason for Doug Baldwin in the middle of a football play to take his hands off the ball. And
so he takes his hands off the ball, gives the thumbs up. He's looking right in the eyes of the defender, and the defender goes right over the top of him, lets him score on purpose.
Give a thumbs up, other than if he was to signal the defender to go over the top so he could get this scripted touchdown.
So this is one of the most obvious scripted plays of all time, right up there with Cam Newton diving away from a fumble, right? This is right up there with the Minnesota Miracle. So these are some of the clearest examples that the game is not fixed by the referees, but the players on the field are in on it. So I'd love to see Matt try and explain that one away with referees. All right. And then, of course, Dwight Smith. We have Dwight Smith's admission. But before we get to Dwight Smith's admission, I'm going to go ahead and let Matt make himself look even more stupid, because he's going to claim that no one's ever came out and admitted that it's rigged and scripted, that no former players have ever said anything. And here's an example of former Super Bowl champion Dwight Smith admitting that the NFL is scripted entertainment and that the outcomes are not decided on the field. But before I show this clip, I got to set it up by showing you Matt make the claim that no players have ever came forward. No players have ever admitted it.
Players can't possibly be in on it. They're too stupid to keep everything secret, first and foremost.
The players are too stupid, you guys. Yeah, they're just ignorant black guys from the hood who are just too stupid to play a pretend football game for millions of dollars. Sure.
It wouldn't look like sports. It wouldn't look so fluid on the field. I know that it
doesn't look like sports. It looks like fake football. You just think it's real because you have no idea what real football looks like. Go watch a high school game, Matt. Go watch a high school pass rush that actually tries to sack the quarterback on every play. Go watch a high school pass rush go after a quarterback for real. And then go watch the NFL where guys patty cake into each other. Offensive linemen and defensive linemen run into each other and let the quarterback stand around in the pocket for 5-6 straight seconds while he finds a wide open receiver. Matt has no idea what he's talking about. The NFL does not look like legitimate football. It looks fake as fuck. In fact, that's why Madden is such a shitty game. It's because it's based off a pretend football game and not an actual simulation of football. So they have a hard time programming a simulation football game when it's based off of pretend football where players are making mistakes on purpose. So that's why Madden is broken as well. That's why I see people bitching about the Madden video game. It's because the software, it's based off of the NFL, and the NFL's pretend football. So you can't create a satisfying simulation of real football if it's based off pretend football.
Years, there's been 5 or 6 plays that look absolutely ridiculous, but 5, 6, or 7 plays out of hundreds of thousands, it wouldn't look like a sport. I think people that think everybody on the field, no matter what sport it is in on it, haven't played sports. They have no understanding of what it would look like.
So this is another lie. So I've played football. You know, I may not have been a football star, but I definitely played a little high school football. So I know what it's like to tackle someone for real. I know what a real pass rush looks like. I know what it's like to play against a team that has us outmatched and whooped our ass up and down the field. I know what it's like to be outmatched and outclassed on the football field by a much bigger, more aggressive physical team with much more talented players. I know what it's like to be on the opposite end of a real beatdown on a football field. And I know what it's like to beat down on another team that sucked even worse than we did. So I have played. I know what it's like. And I've played other sports as well. So what he's saying right here is bullshit. And I know that there's tons of guys who watch my NFL content who also have played in the past. So I can guarantee you there's some fans of my NFL content who've played high school football, probably even some college football, right? So tons of guys who have played football agree with me that the games are scripted and that all the players are in on it playing pretend football. So Matt making this claim that anyone who thinks that the players are in on it has never played. This is proof that Matt has probably never played. It's more like he's projecting that he's never played.
How obvious it would be within 10 seconds if the players were in on it. They wouldn't be able to fake it that well. And again, one last time, what really...
They don't fake it that well. We see star players dropping the ball over and over again. I see wide receivers drop the ball 2 and 3 times in the same game. I was on a team with a guy who caught damn near every ball that came his way, and it was rare to see this dude drop a ball. So I know what it's like to have a guy on my own high school team that rarely ever dropped a ball. Anything that touched his hands, he caught it almost every time. Whereas a star NFL player, the number one receiver on a team, will drop the ball like 3-4 times in any given game. I've seen games, especially the last few seasons, where the entire wide receiving unit, each player drops the ball multiple times. So according to Matt, it's too hard to fake it. But I can see 4 wide receivers drop multiple passes on the same team. So, guys, there's times where offenses seem completely inept, and then you look at the quarterback, he's throwing it to the other team on purpose. You look at the running back, he's fumbling on purpose. You look at the wide receivers, they're dropping it on purpose. And so here's Matt saying it's impossible to fake it and have it look real. It doesn't look real. It looks fake as fuck. I don't know what NFL he's been watching, but the one I've been watching looks fake as fuck. All right, and I see I got some super chats that came in. Let me knock these out real quick. Fittest Flat Earther says Matt is Fred Durst. So the Heavenly Father has blessed me with the ability to see through these shapeshifters' deceptions. And as you can see here, this guy Matt calls himself Quantum of Conscience. He's got some very similar identifying markers as none other than the one who wants the nookie, Fred Durst. And so if you look right underneath Matt's eye, you can clearly see he's got the exact same freckle as Fred Durst. It's the same shapeshifter. Matt is Fred Durst. So these shapeshifters, right now during Satan's little season, they're sneakier than ever. So right now we're seeing these shapeshifters do more shapeshifting than I've ever seen before. And they absolutely hate the fact that I'm exposing them. All right, there you go. Fittest Flat Earther says Matt is Fred Durst. Doxological Thinker said that thumbs up from Baldwin should be for Jake. Hit that thumbs up. Keep busting those shills, Jake. Also, Holden had a link in the chat for another funny NFL clip he wanted you to show. All right, well, I got another one that I was going to show as well from a college game to show that it's not just the NFL, but also college as well. Thank you, Doxological Thinker. Yes, everybody, hit the thumbs up if you are still here enjoying the show. We've had over 400 people here for the majority of the show tonight, and I appreciate you guys being here. And still got a few more things to say about this Matt clown and a few more clips to show that are going to bury him for sure. So hit the thumbs up if you guys are enjoying the stream. We're going to keep this party rolling. Got a super chat coming in from Trout Fishing at Hood Park. Very generous donations coming in from you guys. I appreciate that. He says, great takes tonight, Jake. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. You know, I haven't streamed in like a week, so I was looking forward to getting on here and talking with you guys. And, you know, I haven't talked about football in a while, and so I figured it would be nice to expose this guy, Matt, and talk a little football at the same time. So thank you guys for showing up and supporting the channel tonight. All the super chats coming in. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. You guys are an awesome audience, and I love doing these streams for you guys. And tonight's no different. You guys are showing up and supporting me quite a bit tonight. So this is a great experience to be able to do this for you guys, and I appreciate you allowing me to keep doing this for you guys. All right. So Matt's going to say that the players are not in on it and that nobody's ever said anything. Nobody's ever come forward and talked about it. And of course, I got my Dwight Smith clip all lined up.
It blows my mind in terms of people think all these sports are fake in terms of the players. I mean, Matt, please don't say it again. We understand your position about managed outcomes on the coaches, referee, ownership side, etc. Even the defense for Tom Brady, for the Patriots, for example, it was obvious that they wouldn't allow the man-to-man coverages that would stop Tom Brady.
Tom Brady is the fake greatest of all time. Tom Brady is the son of a very, very wealthy businessman, and Tom Brady was allowed to win more Super Bowls than anyone. And if the games were real, if it was real football, Tom Brady would not be the top football quarterback ever. In fact, Tom Brady would have probably never won any Super Bowls if the games were real. There's other players who have more skill than Tom Brady, but they weren't as marketable as Tom Brady. And so Tom Brady was allowed to be the greatest quarterback in pretend football. And that's because all the games were pretend. You see those defenses purposely letting Brady score. Brady had running backs that could always grind out the tough yard on 3rd and 1. He always had a running back who would pick up 4 or 5 yards a carry when he needed it. Guys would always be left miraculously open when he needed. And on the flip side, when the Patriots were big favorites in the Super Bowl and all the money was on them, Tom would go lose on purpose. So those Super Bowls, like against the Eagles, where the backup quarterback of the Eagles beat Tom Brady and the Patriots, well, that's because the public bet super heavy on the Patriots. So those Super Bowls where Tom Brady was the big favorite and the public threw their money on the Patriots, those are the ones that he went out there and lost. Think about that. And then the one Super Bowl where he plays against Patrick Mahomes and the public like the Chiefs and bet more so on the Chiefs than Tom Brady and the Bucks. Oh, Tom Brady and the Bucks go out there and throttle the Chiefs, and Pat Mahomes looks like shit in that game. But according to Matt, the players aren't in on it. So those games where Tom Brady was a big favorite, oh, he just was not good enough those days to beat Eli Manning and the backup quarterback of the Eagles. No, just happened to lose those Super Bowls when the public bet heavy on the Patriots. And then when the public bet more so on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, oh, well, that's when Tom Brady went out there and with a brand new team, the Buccaneers, in his first year with the Bucs, and beat the shit out of the Chiefs, no problem. And Patrick Mahomes in that Super Bowl against the Bucs just kept running backwards. Hey, Matt, quantum of conscious, go back and watch the that Chiefs and Patriot or Chiefs and Bucs Super Bowl where Patrick Mahomes runs backwards on almost every damn throwing play. You could tell the Chiefs were not trying to score. The Chiefs were not only going to lose, but they had to lose by multiple scores. And so the desired outcome was that the Chiefs were going to get whooped in that game, lose by multiple scores. And Tom Brady gets to go down as the GOAT. And in the one circumstance where he played the other possible GOAT, the other quarterback that you could argue could possibly be the greatest, Tom gets the victory against Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes runs backwards over and over and over again. So, yeah, you look at these players like Tom Brady. Yeah, he was allowed to be the greatest ever because the games are fake. And if the games weren't fake, Tom Brady would have never won any Super Bowls.
They just allowed him to, they call it dink and dunk, short passes all the way down the field. Players aren't in on it. The coach is telling them to get into a loose zone defense where the Wes Welker and the Tom Brady dink and dunks couldn't be stopped. If you rush Tom Brady, put him on his ass, plaster him into the ground, and play man-to-man, he can't succeed. It's obvious the defense, the scheme of the defense.
So here he is talking about schemes, making it sound like he's like very knowledgeable about football, but he's so stupid that he thinks that Tom Brady actually won those Super Bowls and that it's impossible for any of the players to be in on fixing an NFL game and that it's only done through the refs. So all this supposed knowledge about football, but he can't see that the players are playing pretend football with his own two eyes. That means he's either a useful idiot and a huge idiot at that, or he's a fucking shill and he's lying on purpose and he's gatekeeping the subject while attacking this topic, attacking my audience even.
Wasn't allowed to succeed against Tom Brady. And do some defenders kind of sniff that out? Or do they kind of get a sense? Some of them do think, and they're in on it. It's just absolutely absurd plays, and they're in on it. It's just absolutely absurd and bordering on impossible. Imagine the number of plays that would need to be remembered. Okay.
No. See, here's another excuse. Imagine the plays that would need to be remembered. So if you have a speaker in your helmet and someone says, okay, on this play, we need you to throw an interception. So imagine, let's say you're the quarterback and they tell you in your ear, all right, you're going to go out there and we need you to look right at the safety and we need you to throw it right to the safety. And then the safety's going to get tackled within 5 yards of him intercepting the ball. So next play, the quarterback knows what he has to do and he's been told what to do. So there's no chance he's going to forget. And also during commercial breaks, the players have like tablets. I've seen the players on commercial breaks sitting on the bench looking at tablets. So if players are looking at the next play that they're going to be doing or the next series of plays that they're going to be doing on a tablet, and then they're told before each play what's going to happen, you can literally tell every player on the field what they're supposed to do on every play. You could tell a lineman, you're going to get the sack on this play. So the quarterback's going to be standing right there. We need you to go right around the offensive lineman, and he's going to let you go right on past. We need you to get this. We're going to have you get the sack. So there's plays where a defensive lineman will sack the quarterback within like a second and a half. And it's almost like they told that defensive lineman, we're going to give you the sack on this next play. And the quarterback's going to be standing there waiting on it. And then the very next play, all the linemen run into the offensive lineman in front of them and they just pancake each other and they just patty cake each other. And the quarterback's left with all the time in the pocket. So you'll see in an NFL game, all the linemen not try and sack the quarterback at all. They'll just run into the offensive lineman and they'll just essentially just patty cake each other. Meanwhile, the quarterback's like looking through his reads and he's got all this time in the pocket. Happens in every NFL game. You'll see someone like Matt Stafford on any given throwing play. He'll like be looking at Nakua or whoever. Oh, look over here. Look at this guy. Oh, make a few scramble moves. Still waiting to throw the ball. A real pass rush. When guys are really trying to sack the quarterback for real, You don't get to sit in the pocket and dance around like that. So a real pass rush gets there fast as fuck. Whereas in the NFL, you'll see the pass rush on certain shotgun passing plays. It's non-existent. They send 4 guys to get blocked by 5 guys, and they all just go like this to the lineman in front of them, and none of them actually try and get the quarterback. And then there'll be plays where they'll be like, hike, bam, quarterback is sacked within a second. So the players in every position can be told what's going to come on the very next play. And then on the sidelines, they got their tablets that will show them the play, right? And from what I've heard now, they can even have software where it can show on the visor, on their visor, it can show the play. So imagine the quarterback can see the play inside of his own helmet being projected to him. And he can see the plays on the sidelines that he's going to be running in the next series. And he's told what to do. And everyone on the defense is told what to do. So that's how you can keep track of every player and what they're going to do on every single play. And the dumb moronic players don't have to remember 1,000 plays. They don't have to remember hundreds of plays. They're just told what to do, right? So, for instance, Travis Kelce, the tight end for the Chiefs, right? Travis Kelce, one of the most famous tight ends, right? They can just tell him, okay, on this next play, it's going to be a tight end screen to you, and we need you to drop it. And then we need you to act like you're pissed off that you dropped it. And I've seen Travis Kelce drop the ball on purpose and then pretend to be pissed off. So all you got to do is just remind him what's coming. All right, Travis, this next one's coming to you. We need you to drop it. Oh, and Travis Kelce drops the easy pass that anyone could have caught, right? So you have to wonder when you see the players purposely making such stupid mistakes. Well, they were told in their earpiece, this is what they need to do, right? And that's their job. So NFL players, their job is to look great when they're supposed to score, when they're supposed to look like they're trying. They look great. But they're also, at any given point in the game, required to mess up on purpose, to make the stupidest, most embarrassing mistakes on purpose. Required. So when you see a quarterback like as accurate as Matthew Stafford, who can fit the ball in the tightest little window, and you can see Matt Stafford like on 4 plays in a row, just stick the ball in the tightest window. And you can tell that Matt Stafford is an accurate quarterback. The dude can stick the ball wherever he wants. And then inexplicably on the next play, he throws it right to the 49ers defense. Just right to him. So you can see when a quarterback who's good, and you know that they're good, and you can see them hit 3-4 throws perfect in stride, and then they throw it right to the defense. They stare at the defense, throw it right to them. It's obvious the quarterbacks are told that they have to turn it over, and it's part of their job. So part of every quarterback's job, every quarterback, you have to go out there and play like shit on some games on purpose. And even the games where you win and look good, there's still moments where you're going to be required to screw up on purpose and turn it over. So even if you have a game where you throw 4 touchdowns, they might still ask you to go out there and turn it over twice. So you get to win the game, throw 4 scripted touchdowns, but you also have to throw 2 interceptions on purpose. See? So a quarterback's best throws and worst throws are all part of the script. And they have players who are good enough to make those throws and make them look pretty when they need to. And the players, when they are told to screw up on purpose, turn it over on purpose, they don't bat an eye. They go right out there and do it.
This is going to be a 3rd down and 7. I hope the D-back over here that what did he do at South Carolina University? Did he go to one class? No, he just party. We're going to party. He just partied his way through college. and he had the bitches and hoes and bitches and hoes, and that guy, he's doing he got the gold teeth. He's like the rappers. He the gold. Oh, he's gonna he's gonna remember, because we rehearsed this, that this.
So now he's making the claim that if some black football player that has gold teeth and looks like a rapper, if he's out there, with his gold teeth and whatnot, then obviously he's not smart enough to be in on the fix. So Matt's taking the stance that these black guys from the hood are just too dumb to play professional football and fake it. That the only thing they know how to do is play for real. They're too stupid to fake it. Even a child knows the difference between playing real and faking it. Even a child knows that you can try your hardest or you can fake it, right? So a child will know even if their parent isn't trying, right? So if a parent lets their child win too many times, eventually the child figures it out. It's like, no, you let me win on purpose, right? So I would argue, I don't care what black guy with his golden teeth is out there playing football, that they know they're playing fake, phony football. They know they're playing pretend football, and they're smart enough to be told to play pretend football. Like it doesn't require a ton of intellect. It doesn't require an intellectual person to be told to go out there and screw up any given play, or make a tackle on any given play, or make a catch on any given play. If you got a player that can catch the ball whenever you want him to, or drop the ball whenever you want him to, then on some plays, you're going to have him make the miraculous catch. And then on other plays, you're going to have him drop it on purpose. But according to Matt, that's just impossible, because these guys have gold teeth and they're just too stupid to play pretend football. Which I think is a really ridiculous excuse to say that football can't be fake because the players are too stupid. When there's billions of dollars being bet, multi-billion-dollar operation, nothing's left to chance, and you can easily tell the players exactly what to do on every single play. And if the players don't do what they're told, you can remove them from the field and find a different player who will do what they're told. Any player who doesn't do exactly what they're told, you take them off the field and you have a backup ready to play that spot. And if anyone accidentally gets injured in a freak accident, you have backup players who can go in and continue playing scripted football. If too many people bet on any of these players to perform well, you can just tell that player to pretend to be hurt. So yeah, this fool doesn't know anything about pretend injuries. He doesn't know anything about setting a live betting trap with a pretend injury. For instance, Aaron Rodgers goes down a few years ago with a fake injury with the Jets on like the first series of the game. Meanwhile, a ton of money comes in on Buffalo to win that game on live bets. And then the Jets with a backup quarterback end up beating the highly favored Buffalo Bills in a live betting trap. But a guy like Matt, he doesn't have the intellect to be able to realize that or identify it or explain it. He doesn't even know what's going on. He's such a dumb fuck. He doesn't even know what a live betting trap is or how one is set. He doesn't even realize that players are pretending to be injured. And if you go back and you look at the Aaron Rodgers pretend injury, you can't really argue that he got hurt legitimately, because he literally just sits down and touches his leg and then walks off the field and is done for the season, and nobody touched him. So a quarterback that didn't get hit, didn't get touched at all, we're to believe goes down with a season-ending injury on the first series of the game. Meanwhile, the backup quarterback comes in and engineers the miraculous upset victory. But according to Matt, no. It's only referees who rig the games. Players can't possibly be in on it.
This is the key 3rd and 7 where he's going to let the receiver get out 2 feet in front of him and score that post touchdown. Oh, sure. Yeah. They're all in on it. Nobody, and over the last 15 years, because they're also smart and they're also genius, that they haven't given it away. There haven't been 150 to 200 plays that were so absurd, where even the idiot scratching his balls on the couch, like, well, that looked ridiculous, honey. Did you
see everything he's saying? It's just triggering me more and more. They're all so genius that they haven't given it away. The players are pawns. The players are pawns on the field being told what to do. And then they go out there and they do it for a paycheck. So to them, it's just a job. And if they don't do it, they know someone else will take that job. So there's only so many positions available to play professional football. And to play professional football means playing fake football. There's no such thing as real professional sports. If they let you bet on it, then the outcome is predetermined and controlled. And they don't just predetermine and control just the outcome. There's every aspect of the game that can be bet on, can be controlled. And the only way to have control over every aspect is to have every player on the field in on it.
Hey, there haven't been 150 to 200 plays that were so absurd, where even the idiot scratching his balls on the couch, like, well,
there has been absurd plays where even drunken fanboys snap out of it and realize that they're looking at fake football. That's how they end up finding my channel, Matt. Drunken fanboys in the stands will every once in a while notice that the players don't seem to be playing real football, that these guys seem to be losing on purpose in some cases and doing whatever they can to blow these games. So there's fans in the stands who will go home and they'll type into the search bar here on YouTube, NFL rigged, because they saw some plays that didn't make sense. And that's how they find me. So one of the reasons why people find me and my content is because they see plays that don't make sense. The alarm bells start going off. And then they go home, they type in NFL rigged, NFL scripted into the search bar, and they find me. And then they find me showing examples. Oftentimes, maybe the exact example that they saw that got them to question whether it's fake or not. They might see me break down that exact example in the top 10 most scripted plays of the week. And then once they see me break it down in slow motion, then the next time they watch the NFL game, it pops out and then they can't unsee it. So once someone watches me break it down and then they watch that very next NFL game, then it becomes impossible not to see that it's fake football. So I would argue once somebody puts it into the search result, NFL rigged, once they stumble across my content, once they see someone put these instances into slow motion and explain it and break it down, it's impossible to say that all these players are trying their hardest and that that's real football and that it's just the refs manipulating these games. All right. Got a bunch of super chats that came in. Well, several. RY says some football talk from Land on the Moon guy, 49ers. This fucking moron right here has no idea what he's talking about. Not only has he never been to the moon, he's never landed on the moon, he's never roved on the moon. This man has clearly never played a down of football in his life. He doesn't even have any clue what's really happening out there on the football field, my friend. The game is nothing but entertainment, and the outcome is not decided on the field, my friend. Except for the 49er. The 49er is the only team that play for real, my friend. All the team is playing fake football. But the San Francisco 49er, they are the number one team that still play for real, my friend. All right. Suzette Ann says, Matt says that all the news stories are fake, but hardly anyone is in on it. That most of the people involved have taken the download, but aren't involved in planning of the fake news stories. So yeah, when you have all these different police and people showing up to these drills where they make it look like there's a mass shooting that went down, when you have all these different people involved, of course they know that nobody's dying and that it's a drill. And so you see law enforcement and the mainstream media, you see their actors they put on screen smiling with duper's delight, and then you see the police themselves will sometimes go on screen and just straight lie about what went down at the school or the building that they're at and what went down with the suspects. And so the police there in the mainstream media, they know that didn't happen, right? So there's plenty of useful idiots that might be going along with the job, like they're parked out front, creating a perimeter, let's say, around the school or whatever. So there might be some people there at the PSYOP location that might be useful idiots who are compartmentalized, who might not totally be in on it. But a lot of them have to be in on it, right? And you can tell by the way they talk, right? These police at these crime scenes, oftentimes they'll have this script that they read talking about how the suspects had a manifesto and the suspects planned this out and it's a hate crime and this and that and the other. And they know damn well that they're just reading a script and that none of that shit actually happened at the location they're at. So yeah, from what I'm seeing here, this guy Matt, he's either really stupid and actually is a useful idiot doing damage control for the NFL here, like a fanboy. Because fanboys, they say the same thing, that the games are manipulated by refs, but not by the players. And the mainstream media, whenever the NFL being rigged or scripted is brought up, they automatically will throw the refs under the bus. Oh, fans think that the games are rigged, and they're talking about the games being rigged online because of all of the bad calls by the refs. So I've seen the mainstream media and all of the sports channels like ESPN and whatnot make it out like it's bad refs calls, tricking the fans into thinking that the games are rigged. So if you listen to what Matt's done, so far he's just parroted what the drunken fanboys say and what the mainstream media says. Thank you very much, Suzette, and I appreciate the super chat. And got one from Holden here. He said, Browns fake punt. And he's got the link for me. All right, I'll try and pull that one up here in just a minute, buddy. Got Trout Fishing at Hood Park gifting 10 Jake the Awake gift memberships. Hey, if you get one of these gifted Jake the Awake memberships, thank Trout Fishing at Hood Park. I think also Cactus Jack, maybe a few other people bought some gifted memberships tonight as well. So thank them if you get one. Cactus Jack says, Jake, could you please make Elmo sing Return of the Doink? Well, I guess you didn't know. They be messing with field goals and there's magnets in the poles. You lied to me. All those field goals Elmo thought was real. You lied to me. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You lied to me. All those field goals Elmo thought was real. You lied to me. Now Elmo cry. Elmo cry, cry, cry. We turn off the doink. We turn off the doink. Come on. We turn off the doink. And another ball hits the pole. Doink. There you go. Well, Elmo tried to tell you so. And I guess you didn't know. All right, Trout Fishing at Hood Park with a very generous super chat donation says the players have non-disclosure contracts. Yes, that's something that you won't see Matt bring up or any drunken fanboy. In fact, if you bring up a non-disclosure agreement, the nearest drunken fanboy will look at you strange because they don't even know what that is, right? If you say non-disclosure agreement, it's like you're speaking Chinese. Like they don't even know what you're talking about or what that even is. So you have to actually explain it to the dumb drunken fans that there's an actual contract part of the player contract where you're not allowed to talk about the inner workings of the business. You're not allowed to divulge the business secrets, and these inner working business secrets they have listed in this extensive contract. They specifically state that not only will they come after you and take back all the money they've paid you, but they will sue you for damages. So imagine if you're a player and you say something knowing that the most powerful sports organization in the world with an unlimited budget and the top lawyers in the world, they're not only going to come after your paycheck and get it all back that they paid you, but they're also going to sue you for damages. And if you break that contract against the most powerful league ever, that the chance that it's going to work out well for you that's virtually impossible. So blowing the whistle, there's no circumstance where it's going to work out for you and you're going to live happily ever after. Like, I can't think of any scenario where someone blew the whistle and they were handed a bucket of money and fame and fortune and lots of respect, and they walked away scot-free and live happily ever after, right? Like, what whistleblower is like, oh, I have this secret that I want to tell, and they're like, oh shit, let's have the television networks show up with a bucket of money and dump it at their feet. Let's hear what this whistleblower has to say, and we'll broadcast it all over the television, because the people hearing what's really going on is what matters most. No, whistleblowers get buried. Most people don't care what a whistleblower has to say anyway, and fanboys of the NFL and sports in general will write off any supposed whistleblowers as being disgruntled players that are mad that they got cut. So if a drunken fanboy will just write off any former NFL player who starts to spout off about the league being rigged. They'll just say, oh, that guy, he got cut. So he's just trying to stay in the public eye and get attention, talking bad about the NFL because he's mad that he got cut. So yeah, the players are sworn to secrecy, and not only will they lose their check if they speak up, but they can also be sued for damages, right? And the NFL is a very, very powerful organization, and there's no examples of anybody going to battle against the NFL and making out like a bandit and living happily ever after. So thank you very much, Trout Fishing at Hood Park, for the multiple donations tonight, sir, and the gifted memberships. I really appreciate that, buddy. All right. So without further ado, let's take a look at Dwight Smith, former Super Bowl champion for the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers beat the Raiders, the Oakland Raiders, in the Super Bowl many years ago. So he played in the Super Bowl against the Raiders, and the Buccaneers throttled the Raiders in that Super Bowl. He scored 2 touchdowns. So this is a former player who won the Super Bowl and in the Super Bowl got to score 2 touchdowns. This is what I consider the gold standard in player admissions. Out of all the player admissions, I think this is the best one, and quite frankly, the only one that matters.
The Super Bowl Sunday. Well, I mean, this is something that no one's ever seen before. I mean, you're hosting the Super Bowl. The Bucs are in it. It's Brady versus Mahomes. I mean,
that was something I predicted at the beginning of the year. I said if the NFL wanted to have the home team in the Super Bowl, this would be the perfect year. Pandemic, people can't travel, so it's not a shock to me.
How big of an advantage do you think it will be for the Buccaneers not having to travel anywhere? Because obviously, when you were in the Super Bowl.
That's not no advantage. I don't have no advantage.
No advantage? Okay.
No.
All right, so.
That's like saying they have advantage at every home game during the year. So, I mean, it ain't like they won every home game.
So there he just said that there's no advantage for home field. That's not no advantage. They asked him about home field advantage, and he just laughs, says that's not an advantage.
Y'all know all the X's and O's, man. I'm just sitting at home watching. I don't like to get into that because I don't believe the game is really decided on the field. So
y'all like to get into the X's and O's. I don't like to get into that because I don't think the game is decided on the field. One more time.
Okay. Yeah, y'all know all the X's and O's, man. I'm just sitting at home watching. I don't like to get into that because I don't believe the game is really decided on the field.
So the guy that won the Super Bowl and scored 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl says that he doesn't like to get into the X's and O's because he doesn't believe the game is really decided on the field, right? That's pretty blunt. Doesn't think the game is decided on the field? So he's literally admitting that his own Super Bowl win is essentially tainted and that the outcome wasn't decided on the field. How many former players are going to admit that their own Super Bowl championship wasn't decided on the field? So this is why this is the best admission, is because you have the Super Bowl champ basically tarnishing his own legacy.
You know, I don't get into all the X's and O's and talking, man. Like I said, I played in the game. I set a Super Bowl record, and we knew every play they was running before the game started. So
I played in the Super Bowl, set a Super Bowl record. We knew every play they were going to run before it started.
Hey, who am I to say?
Hey, who am I to say? So you'll have people that will argue that this isn't good enough, that this player saying that the outcome isn't decided on the field isn't good enough. So there's people who will say no player has ever came out and admitted that it's rigged or scripted. And then I show them this, and then they go, well, how come more haven't come out? Well, he's the only one. So even though this is the best example from a former Super Bowl champion who says that the games are not decided on the field, that's still not good enough for some people, and they'll make excuses. I'm sure Matt will have an excuse to make, but here's my thing. I'm going to trust the former Super Bowl champ saying that the games aren't decided on the field over some fucking guy named Matt, who I know damn well has never stepped foot on a football field and has never played any pretend football himself. So the guy I know has played pretend football and is essentially admitting it. I'm going to trust his admission more so than Matt, who thinks only the referees are capable of manipulating a football game and that the players can't possibly be in on it. So Matt would have to, if he was here now debating me, he would have to say that Dwight Smith is lying, that he did try his hardest in the Super Bowl and that he's just lying and tarnishing his own legacy for some reason. So try and come up with a good reason why Dwight Smith would tarnish his own legacy. But this is the only example I've ever found of a player admit this much and point blank say that the outcome is not decided on the field. I've never found another example of a player saying it that point blank.
Well, tell us about that week leading up to the Super Bowl, because that was the big thing. Bill Callahan was the Raiders coach at the time. Obviously, John Gruden had just come over. Tell us about that week of preparation leading up to the game and how it was executed by you guys. I mean, you could know which plays are coming. And
Tim Brown and Jerry Rice come out and say that they made them run John Gruden's offense?
Yes. Yep. It was his offense, and you guys knew exactly what was coming. Did you know every single play?
They didn't run that offense all year, though. Ain't it odd that you would run it when you're playing against us?
So did you guys know every play before the ball was snapped?
This is the best part of the whole clip. Did you guys know every play before the ball was snapped?
I'm just saying, man, the game ain't decided on the field.
He starts laughing. I'm just saying, man, the game ain't decided on the field. He repeats himself. So twice he says the game ain't decided on the field. So here you have the guy who is in the fucking Super Bowl saying that it's not decided on the field, but then you got the radio hosts trying to talk him out of it and argue with him. Like the radio hosts don't even want to accept it.
That's all I'm going to say. Like I said, I predicted who's going to be in the Super Bowl. It ain't about who has the best players. Football is entertainment.
I predicted who's going to be in the Super Bowl. It ain't about who has the best players. Football is entertainment.
So what's the most entertaining Super Bowl? The Bucs in their first one against Patrick Mahomes. has nothing to do with if these are the best teams, because we know that these aren't the best teams. The Bucs are not the best NFC team.
So who's the best team in the NFC, in your opinion?
The Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
But the Bucs beat them at Lambeau, though. I mean, the Bucs proved it. They went there. They beat Aaron Rodgers at his place.
You can say what you want, man. Like I say, the game ain't decided on the field.
Dude said it 3 times. And they were arguing with the dude who played the pretend football. So the fact that he's like, he said it that point blank, to me, that's the ultimate player admission. Former Super Bowl champion said it over and over again in the same interview. There's no way that can be misconstrued, right? So you have to lie to yourself to say that he didn't admit that the game's not decided on the field and that it's just entertainment. So that's the bet. I think that's about as much as you're ever going to hear any player talk as far as like the game being rigged. I don't think you're ever going to see anyone go into further detail than that publicly. So I doubt any other former players will ever take it farther than that and really explain any of the inner details. So I haven't heard anything else from Dwight Smith. This is like the one clip that he's known for. No one ever talks about him. This rarely ever gets brought up. In fact, I'm like one of the only guys who ever talks about this clip and ever shows it. So there you go. I've shown an example tonight of all the players on the field being in on it and kicking a meaningless field goal to cover a spread. And I showed an example of a player admitting that the game is not decided on the field. But wait, there's more. I'm going to show an example of how college football's rigged. And then Holden also sent me a play. I'll try and show that one as well. So I have an example of college football being rigged that's indisputable. So not only is pro football rigged, but also college football and college sports with a betting line is also rigged and scripted. And there's people out there that don't want to hear that. And they think that college kids being in on a fixed outcome is also impossible. But I'm going to show you right now, you can even get college kids to all play pretend football, and all of them are in on it.
Football is scripted and fixed, just like the NFL, which I call the National Fixed League. You're not going to be able to deny this, and if you try and deny this, you will look foolish and you will be wrong. Miami up 20-17. All they have to do is just kneel on the ball. Just kneel on the ball. But instead, they're going to run a play. Even the announcers are wondering what the hell they're doing. I don't know what.
All right, guys. So here you have Miami, Georgia Tech. Miami has the game locked up. They literally just have to kneel on the ball. So for a college football team to have the game locked up and all you need to do is kneel on the ball, what are the chances that a team's going to go out there, not kneel on the ball, turn it over, and give up the game-losing touchdown? I mean, guys, this is the Miami Hurricanes. This is a huge football school, and they have Georgia Tech beat. The game is over. People have already locked in huge bets, and then this happens.
Miami is doing. That's right. They shouldn't be running any sort of play like that. They should be taking a knee. Anybody doing anything other than taking a knee is purposely trying to lose by possibly fumbling. So as long as they don't purposely fumble, they can run a play and they'll be okay.
So instead of kneeling on the ball, Miami goes out there and runs a play. But all they got to do is just eat up the clock. And so as long as they don't fumble it and give up the game-losing touchdown, then it won't matter.
Just as long as they don't purposely fumble, right? Just as long as he doesn't, oh, look at that, and he fumbles the ball. There it is, you guys. That is the proof.
So the score, you can see Miami was up 20 to 17, 28 seconds left. All they literally need to do is kneel the ball. Every coach knows what the victory formation is. No head coach is going to get to this position and forget how to kneel the ball. There's no football team that has the game locked up that's going to go out there and decide to run a play and then literally turn it over. But wait, as long as they don't give up the touchdown, then it won't matter.
That college football is indeed fixed. You're in a situation here where all you have to do is kneel on the ball and run out the clock. And instead they line up and run it and fumble it. But.
So according to Matt, Miami, they were just stupid. The players are just so stupid, they didn't realize that they could kneel on the ball and win the game. Or they were too cocky and confident. You have to make up some retarded shit that the players are so stupid, so cocky, so confident that all they needed to do was kneel on it, but they just decided not to do it. And they accidentally fumbled because they're so stupid. Yeah, right, dude. That's retarded, dude. Any football team in the position where all you got to do is kneel and win, you kneel and win. Any coach in this position is going to tell their guys, okay, victory formation, kneel on it and win. So no coach is dumb enough to have his team go out there and run a play. And no team is inept enough to go out there and fumble in this fucking scenario unless they've been told that they have to lose this game.
Does Georgia Tech come back and win? Oh, you bet your ass they come back and win. You bet your sweet ass Georgia Tech comes back and wins.
Just so happens, just enough time on the clock for the Hail Mary.
And somebody wants to say, oh!
Just so happens, all these players left the one guy open. And on the final play of the game.
Oh, no, Jake. It's not rigged.
So, guys, in order to take the position that it's not rigged, you have to claim that the Miami coach is just too stupid to win a football game that he already had won. And that the players are also too stupid to kneel on the football. So the coach and the players were just so stupid and confident and cocky that they went out there, ran a play, and out of all the things that can happen on that play, they fumble. And then out of all the things they can do on the next play, they give up the game-losing touchdown. Any given Saturday, any given Sunday. So according to some dipshit like Matt, that's a real miraculous comeback. And the coach of the Hurricanes and all the players are just stupid. I'm sure if Matt was the coach or if Matt was one of those players, he would have knelt down the ball because he's so smart. But these Miami players, they were just too stupid. So guys, there's a college football game where all the players on the Miami Hurricanes side purposely lost that game. And there's nobody on the team who can see their teammates do that and think that that was an accident. So that means everybody on the sidelines who wasn't on the field watches their teammates purposely lose the game. They know what the fuck happened. The coach knows his team purposely lost. The players went out there and purposely lost. The players that weren't on the field could see their teammates purposely lose the fucking game. So that means all the players are in on it, even in a college game. But Jake, how do you get all those college kids to keep their mouths shut? I don't know exactly how they do it, but they do it. Obviously they do it. I just showed you that they do it. How the fuck did they get all those players to blow that game when it was over? 28 seconds left. You got the ball. You're already in scoring position. They're out of timeouts, and all you got to do is kneel. But, you just don't do it. And you fumble and give up the game-winning score by accident. Okay, you'd have to be a fucking lying, retarded piece of shit to take that stance that those college kids accidentally screwed up. Them college kids tried their best. And those Miami Hurricanes players just made a simple mistake. So, when I say all the college players are in on it, I just showed you the proof. They have to be all in on it. How else are you going to get them to go out there and blow that game? Didn't look like they needed the refs either. Did you guys see a ref throw a flag to help the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets win that game? No refs, no flags. Hurricanes purposely fumble, purposely give up the game losing touchdown. You can see it on their face. They were told they had to do it. All right. And I think Holden sent me a super chat with the Browns fake punt from last season. So let me pull that one up. All right. So here's another example where every player on the field has to be in on it.
29.
Well, that's a good question.
This has to be a record. Nobody's ever punted it from inside the 30-yard line, have they? They need to go for it.
Yeah. Go.
So the over-under 35.5. So that means if you bet the over, you have to have more than 35.5 points scored to get paid. If you bet the under, you want the score to stay underneath 35.5 points. So they have this over-under set up at 35.5, and there's exactly 34 points scored. Browns are in field goal range, but they decide to punt while they're in field goal range. Browns are up by 2 touchdowns. Basically zero chance that they can lose this game here. All they need to do is just kick this field goal and they'll go up by 17. Or even if they miss the field goal, they're still up 14-0. But they decide to punt the ball.
Go for it or attempt a field goal.
I don't think I've ever seen someone punt it from inside the 30.
Wow. Well,
hey, it worked.
When was the last time you...
So they punt the shortest, stupidest punt. And you even have the announcer laughing and saying he's never seen a team punt from inside the 30. So there you have the announcer laughing at the fact that the football team is doing something ridiculous that doesn't make sense in a real game. In a real game, if teams are trying to win, not trying to cover any spreads or keep the under or the over happening, a team's just trying to do their best to win. They're just going to kick that field goal. And if they miss, oh, well, they're still up 14 points. Punting right there from inside your own 30 means that the NFL is purposely trying to keep the score from going over. So they didn't want this score to go over 35.5 points total scored between the two teams. So they kept the score at 34 points total with this play. So like I said, people aren't just betting on the outcome. They're not just betting on whether a team's going to win or lose or cover the spread. They're also betting on over, under as well. So in this case, you completely control who wins the over, under bet by having the Browns purposely not kick the field goal, which would have put this as an over. Does that make sense? So I know that you guys out there who have bet before and you know how point spreads work. This makes sense, but it might be confusing to those of you who don't know how point spread works. But essentially, you got the players doing something that doesn't make sense specifically to cover a point spread, or in this case, the over-under.
Saw somebody with 10 sacks in a game.
Now, still going to punt it from the 29?
So there you go. That one was from Holden, who wanted me to show this. There you go, Holden. All right. Now I can take some questions or whatever from the chat. I've been on here for over 3 hours, so I'm going to wrap it up here soon. Jake Davis Music says, Jake the Awake, do you think the league has fail-safe backup plans in case a team goes off script? I don't think that a team can go off script because you have all the players as pawns playing pretend football. So a team's not going to like purposely go against the script because their whole job is to do what they're told. And so I think that there's certain games where the money is close on both sides. So if you have almost 50-50 money on both sides, they can have the score kind of go back and forth and keep it close. And then they can just wait for the public to start betting live. And then once the public bets a certain amount on one side or the other, then they can go ahead and end the game with the desired outcome and take the public's money. So if the public was to do something unexpected and start betting on a team they have scheduled to win, and a shitload of the public is starting to bet on the team that's scheduled to win, they can just quickly change that, just flip-flop it. In fact, I think that's happened several times when big bettors throw a shitload of money on the games live. So you have a live game and equal money on both sides, and then some big bettor comes along and throws $400,000-500,000 or whatever, in one bet on one team. You could change the whole outcome of a game on just one big bet coming in if they wanted to. Like if that was enough to swing the money percentages one way or the other, they can just relay the message on the field to the players. Okay, we had some big bets come in, so we're going to make some changes. So we had you scheduled to win this game, but now you're going to have to lose this game. And the players on the field, they don't take it personally because they know they're not playing real football. So a player whose their job is to just be a mediocre quarterback, win a few games, lose some games, but never win the Super Bowl, they accept that that's their job. So if your job is to go out there and, win some games that people don't expect you to win, and then lose some games that people expect you to win, that's the job of a mediocre quarterback. When the money's being bet on your side, you got to go out there and lose more than likely. When the money's being bet against you, well, that's when you get to go out there and win. So you'll see these mediocre and shitty quarterbacks, when the money gets stacked up against them high enough, that's when they go out there and win. You'll see Jacoby Brissett go out there and pull off an upset against the Cowboys. Like Jacoby Brissett and the Cardinals. 1 or 2 games out of the year, they'll go out there and whoop someone's ass, and Jacoby Brissett will look like a top 10 quarterback. And then in the very next game, when you expect Jacoby Brissett to win against another shitty team, well, that's when he goes out there and throws it right to the other team on purpose. So a lot of these quarterbacks are contracted losers, but when the money gets stacked up against them after they lose several games in a row and people expect them to lose, that's when they go out there and win. So yeah, the league, this is how they make their big money, is by extracting this money from the sports bettors. And so in order to extract this money from the sports bettors as efficiently as possible, you got to have all the players on the field in on the act. And all the players on the field can be instructed what to do through their headsets. They look at their tablets on the sidelines that tell them the plays. So it's really easy to let the players know what you want them to do. And the players don't have a choice but to do it. Or they'll find someone else to do it. Got a super chat from OJ and Toothpaste. Says, hey, Jake, thoughts on Kyle Busch $18 death? I heard that he died, but I don't watch NASCAR and I don't keep up on NASCAR, so I didn't go back and watch the replay or didn't even look into it at all. So I heard that he died, but that was it. That was the most that I heard. So I haven't watched a single piece of any NASCAR race in years. So I don't know what the crash even looked like. So you probably know a lot more about it than I do. It looks like we might even have a troll in chat. Ha ha, maybe tell mom jokes, derp. Projection suits you. LOL derp. Yeah, these sound like troll comments, bro. Go ahead. Make another troll comment if that's what you're doing. Go ahead. I'll just ban you from the channel. Derp. Go ahead, troll. Keep talking shit and we'll see what happens. Derp. Now, I might have you all wrong. You might be talking to someone else in the chat. So every once in a while, I think someone's trolling me, but they're having a conversation with someone else that I don't know about. So I might totally have this wrong. Yeah, see, he might be talking to someone else. And if that's the case, I totally apologize. My bad. Ishtar 777 says the Eagles went for it against the Packers last season when all they had to do was run out the clock. Not just that, like you see all of the stupid 2-point conversions when it makes no sense at all. You know what I mean? Like instead of just kicking the extra point, like teams back in the day before they moved the field goal, they would always just kick the extra point. And so in order to manipulate the bets even more so, they move back the extra point so that they can have the kicker just miss that randomly and they can change the outcome of any game with that extra point. And then they started having coaches go for 2-point, even when it doesn't make any fucking sense. So they have like the Lions coach, Dan Campbell, like people will think that he's like some sort of gutsy, great coach. And he's got balls of steel because he goes for these 2-point conversions when it doesn't make any fucking sense. Right? Like, oh, you scored a touchdown and you're up 7-0. And now you score a second touchdown and you're up 13-0. So instead of kicking the extra point and going up 14-0, which is what every team would do, oh, now we're going to try and go for a 2-point conversion for no reason. Oh, and the 2-point conversion fails. So now they're only up 13. Oh, and wouldn't you know, they end up losing the game 14-13 because the losing team came back, scored 2 touchdowns, right? So all they need to do is just have a coach make a gutsy, ballsy call to go for a 2-point conversion when it doesn't make any fucking sense. And the fanboys think that that's some gutsy, ballsy thing to do. Dan Campbell went for a 2-point conversion when it didn't make any sense. That's because he's so gutsy and ballsy. Way to go, Dan Campbell. You went for a 2-point conversion when it didn't make sense, and it worked, right? So then they'll have like these coaches go for 2-point conversions and make it even when it doesn't make sense. Like, see? You should just go for a 2-point conversion every time. There's no point in kicking extra points anymore. Dud Bull Low Lights says they should have an over-under on the amount of sacrifices that will take place this upcoming season. Remember when Damar Hamlin went down and pretended to be paralyzed and pretended to be passed out, and then people actually fell for it? And then you had like people who were like,
oh, it's because he took the vaccine and he died, and then they replaced him with a clone. So there are people saying that like Damar Hamlin took the vaccine and he died on the field, and they replaced him with a fake Damar Hamlin. Meanwhile, I was like the only dude who was like, you guys, he passed out, like he fake passed out, right? So they just have Damar Hamlin fake pass out, and then they have everyone on the field take a knee, and then you had grown men fake crying. You had grown men like hugging each other and fake crying over Damar Hamlin fake passing out. And then they spin the conspiracy theory that, oh, it must have been the jab. Must have been some sort of adverse reaction to the vaccine. Meanwhile, it was like he just fake passed out. Yeah, that was crazy. The Damar Hamlin story, it like transcended football and was like a mainstream story. You had normies who didn't even follow football praying for Damar. You had like grandmas who don't even watch football hearing about Damar on the nightly news. And they're like, we're praying for Damar. We hope Damar and his family heal safely. Prayers going out to Damar. All right. So I've been on here, over 3.5 hours, and I'm getting pretty tired, and so I should probably get off here, eat some food, walk my dog, and chill out. So thank you guys for hanging out with me on another wacky, wild Wake 'em Up Wednesday. If you missed the first part of the stream, I went over the Robert Harward Mask Story. So if you missed that, go back and check that out. And then for the last couple hours, I've been debunking Matt from Quantum of Conscious, and apparently he thinks it's impossible for the players on the field to be in on the act of fixing the football games. But I showed proof that Matt is 100% wrong. So whether he's lying on purpose or he's a useful idiot, I'm not completely sure. But either way, if I was you, I would never listen to a guy like Matt, especially when it comes to sports. Anything that has to do with rigged sports, definitely stay away from Matt and his ridiculous opinions. In fact, you might want to stay away from Matt as far as any opinion of his, because he might definitely be a shill with the shit that he's spouting. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me here tonight. All the super chats that came in. I had a bunch of support from you guys tonight, and the support was overwhelming like usual. And that's because I have one of the best audiences here on YouTube. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll try and put out another video and stream again Saturday. I didn't stream this last weekend, so I won't wait. I'll try not to make you guys wait till next Wednesday, and I'll try and stream this Saturday. And so until then, thank you guys for partaking in another Wake 'em Up Wednesday with your boy. This is the one and only Jake the Awake, and I will catch you guys in the next video or the next live stream whenever I see you. And it looks like Cactus Jack asking me a question just before I shut it down. Says, what's your take on the new dinosaur discovery? I have not heard about a new dinosaur discovery. That's news to me. So I haven't looked at the mainstream as much lately. And so took a few days off from the mainstream news. And so I'll have to check what dinosaur story you're talking about, because I have not heard a single thing about it, sir. So you know more about it than I do. So how about I look into this dinosaur shit, and then the next stream that I do this Saturday or whenever, I'll let you know my thoughts about that. So I'll try and include this in the next stream. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up and get off here. Peace out. Much love. Good night. I love you guys, and I'll catch you in the next stream.